4 clear, double yellow.
At least it's not windy. At least it's not windy right now, because last time we had.
far. really trying to hold off Mike Kelly, so it becomes a defensive battle. You can't worry about the car in front of you because, again, that's not in class, but it becomes pretty tough to deal with when, you end up trying to do two things at one time. You end up losing track position. So,
all right, Brian, real quick. Want to thank everybody in the chat who let us know that you couldn't hear a bloody thing that we said. So unfortunately, none of you have won the $100,000 prize that we announced just a moment ago. But I'm hoping if you guys can, in the chat here, if you can give us a little update on whether or not you can hear us now. And we got a note from a good friend of ours, Brent Simonson, that the audio is working. Want to thank all of you. Sorry about that, everybody.
Well, I heard everybody wins a car. That's what I heard.
Exactly.
But you had to pass the test in order to get it. And if you didn't hear the secret clue, right, that we gave out early on, then you lost your chance.
Yeah. Now, of course, we didn't tell you that all those cars are coming from Warwick Auto Parts, did we? Or Auto Park, did we?
Warwick Auto Part is now supplying all winners with cars. You get a car. You get a car.
That's right. Sorry, Chip. All right,
well, he can't hear us anyway.
That's right. All right, so now that we have our audio back, and I apologize for that, everybody, we've got here your leader in Touring 4. It is Chip Hurd. He's got about 17 seconds on Kevin Fryer and Brad Childs. In B-Spec, Rich Roman now with about 11 seconds on Robert Ahern running second, Steve Introne and J.B. Swan running second, third, and fourth. In F Production, Dave Strittmatter is your leader. He's got about 16 seconds on the Nissan Sentra of Paul Sultanis, with David Colby running in third, Kevin Ruck a lap down in fourth in his Acura. And then in H Production, it is Rick Benazik, who is currently running second overall to Chip Herr, with Matt Brand and Mike Kelly running second and third here as we watch now. There is... in the black Civic was our leader, Rick Benazik, in H Production. And once again, this is a great fight right now for second between Mike Kelly and Matt Brannon in the number 22 machine, as they're going to go in side by side right behind Steve Introne's Mini Cooper B-Spec car, and then Dave Strittmatter right there as well.
Well, it looks like Mike Kelly's going to
He's got it done.
He got the pass done over Mike Brennan. And I tell you what, Greg, it was a very close call, because as they came into turn 3, you can see the dust kicked up. That's actually from the right rear there, or the left rear of the 22 of Mike Brennan, as he went through the apex there, coming up out of turn 3, trying to stick it in there as hard as he could to keep with Kelly. He's also got the ruck machine, which again is a lap down.
Right.
But that's trying to unlap himself.
Exactly.
And he's running faster lap times, I think, right now as the leader.
Yeah, and to put things in perspective here, and I know we've been putting it up on the ticker, Kevin Ruck lapping right now almost 3 seconds a lap faster than Dave Strittmatter. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, with only 5 laps remaining in this 15-lap race, probably not going to be able to really contend for the win there.
Yep.
But he might be able to pick up a couple spots. David Colby is, I think, his CRX actually just now going into turn 1. Ruck has there's still a possibility of finishing third here. Real quick, Brian, let me make another call to the grid for our next group. Attention in the paddock, second call to the grid for race group number 2, Formula V, Formula F, and Formula 6. Please head to the grid. Formula V, Formula F, and Formula 6 racers, please head to the grid. Your race is next.
Yeah, last time by, Greg, we were talking about that Matt Brand and Mike Kelly. That has seemed to dissipate from that battle. Looks like Brandon really got in there hard last time by. Really overstretched, I think, using of the tires to try to hold off Kelly. Now he's starting to fall back even more.
So Jason Stein, who is, I know, very invested in the H Production battle here this weekend. Brian Stein, who heads up the HP NPC, National Production Car Challenge, and I'm sure he'll correct me in here. He says here that glad to see they replaced Ginsburg's 1988 camcorder in turn 3 for the weekend. Yes.
Don't count your chickens too much. That may be coming, but no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, once the heat picks up, it may get worse. But if you joined us for our Mid-Atlantic Road Racing Series broadcast here from Summit Point or the U.S. Majors Tour last year, we're in the process of getting all of our cameras upgraded. And I think we still have 2 more to go. I'll let you figure out which ones they are. But hopefully we're giving you much better views here. Summit Point here as we watch now. And finally, Chip Herr, and I think Chip was probably trying to baby that CV boot and that axle as he was really getting pressure by Rick Benezik's H Production Civic. Now Chip Herr, who we see all by his lonesome coming through turn 3 with 3.5 laps remaining. He is starting to open things up here. That last time by, he was, he's still almost a second off of his fastest lap of the event.
Yeah. Or getting more comfortable. I tell you what, the battle on the racetrack right now that's really for position is for that last podium spot in B-Spec. Between you've got Steve Introne and JB Swan. That's the closest. Robert Ahern Jr. started to stretch out a little bit when you had all of the other vehicles coming out of turn 10 the last time by.
Yeah.
He's able to stretch that back out by utilizing some of that draft, and now you've got Swan and Introne. Again, that's the battle. They should be coming through, I believe, on the backside, just now coming out of turn 6, heading up into turn 7 and turn 8. You'll see them. But that is that's the last podium spot battle. But it looks like Kevin Ruck now is trying to get back David Stripmatter in that number 28 machine of that F production. Again, Ruck still 1 lap down, so that really isn't a matter for position on the racetrack in class because of him being that lap down. So.
Yeah, exactly. He's just trying to get back out onto the lead lap. But, yeah, you're right, Brian. This has been a great fight now for third in B-Spec between Introne and Swan as Ahern has really started to separate himself out from the Mini and the Sonic. And as they come down into turn 1, we've got the Silver Sonic of JB Swan to the inside, and he's going to get the pass made on Steve Introne. So move Swan up into a podium position here. Drop Introne now down into 4th as the next time our overall leader, Chip Herr, in his Touring 4 Toyota, comes across the line. He's going to get the white flag signifying 1 lap remaining.
And I know yesterday talking with both JB and with Introne as well as Rich, JB still had the old Hankook tires on there.
Yes.
And Introne was moving over to the Goodyear tires. And so they're trying to play around a little bit during practice yesterday, just trying to test some things out. And JB was a little bit faster than Steve pretty much all day long.
Yeah.
So.
Well, interesting thing here is Chip Herr now is going to see the white flag. There you go, 1 lap remaining. And right behind him, coming up over the crest of the hill, there's Stripmatter, your F production leader, with Kevin Ruck, who is, I think, a 2-time national champion in F production. Ruck currently running 4th in class, trying to unlap himself. And right behind him, that's Rick Benezik. And look at this, Brian. Benezik starting here to lose ground. Mike Kelly and Brandon, for that matter, really started to close up on the black Civic. Now, yesterday during testing, Benezik was doing a lot of adjustment on the rear shocks for that car, and I think was still trying to make that car handle the way he wanted it to here. It didn't look very good, and I'm wondering if as that black Civic is on a light load and with a lot less fuel in the back, if maybe it's just getting a little bit more skittish and the Gulf is coming into its own.
Well, I tell you what, it could be Benezik really tried to use up all his tires early on with whatever he had and used the equipment up trying to catch Chip Herr in that 97 machine, and that's allowed Mike Kelly to do it as our leaders now getting ready to come up out of turn number 10 right now. There's Chip Herr coming out of turn 10. Then you've got the Stripmatter and the Ruck machine. That's going to be a battle. But here comes our battle, Greg, for overall and for H production.
And Benezik had a lot of issues coming through turn 10. The rear end stepped out on him, Brian. And as they come to the finish line, taking the win in H production, it is Mike Kelly with Rick Benezik finishing in 2nd. And I said it there. We've got a car off in the gravel over at turn 3. So good thing it was the very last lap.
That's Paul Santana.
Yeah, that's
that's 73, the Nissan Sentra.
And what this is going to do, Brian, with Kevin Ruck, we'll have to see if Ruck did not, and we've got a car going for a wild ride through.
That's the
through turn
171 there. That's Zechariah
10.
Rosenberg.
But let me say this, Brian. So David Colby, who is on the lead lap,
Yep.
I believe this will allow him to move up to second. We'll have to see when the CRX comes across the line. Kevin Ruck, who I don't think got past Strip Matter to give him another lap. We'll have to see, I'll have to see here. Ruck might, if he got past Strip Matter to unlap himself, could conceivably move up to third in class here. We'll take a look, but I believe, looking to see here, yeah, here comes the CRX.
Let's see if this changes.
Of Colby.
Yeah, let's see if this changes and moves him up.
I think this will move him to second.
Yeah, it could be.
As he comes across
Yeah,
the
it
line.
does.
Yeah. So David Colby will finish second in F production, and I think Kevin Ruck.
Well, he's already taken the checker, but
Right.
he did not get past Strip Matter. So
Exactly.
what that does is that puts Paul Santenis in that 73. That still leaves him in third,
Right.
because Kevin Ruck didn't get back by him.
All right, real quick, Brian, let me make a final call to the grid for our next group. We'll run down
Yep.
the finishing order here, and then we'll take a break. Attention in the paddock. Final call to the grid for race group number 2. Formula V, Formula F, and Formula 6. Race group 2, please head to the grid. Your race starting in just a few moments. All right, let's break things down here by class. Taking the overall win and winning in T4 was Chip Herr in his Toyota 86, with Kevin Fryer second. Dude, bro, Brad Childs finishing in third. In F production, David Strittmatter will take the win, ran his fastest lap on the last lap, by the way. David Colby finishes second in his Honda CRX. Paul Saltanis doesn't see the checkered flag, but he gets third from the gravel trap at turn 3. And Kevin Ruck, if he had been able to unlap himself, would have finished third rather than fourth, which is how things ended up. Zechariah Rosenberg, our sole STL racer today in his Mazda Miata. In B-Spec, Rich Roman takes the win over Robert Ahern. JB Swan will finish third. Steve Introne comes home in fourth. And in H production, Mike Kelly, with the last lap, last turn pass, takes the win over Rick Benazik. Matt Brannon finishes third. Braden Connolly fourth. Matt Benazik and Tom Roaring rounding out the 6-car H production field. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back here in just a few minutes with more action from Summit Point Raceway. It is the U.S. Majors Tour. Please stay with us.
At OG Racing, when you are shopping on our website, when we say in stock, this is what we mean by in stock. Seats and seat bases, brakes, harnesses and restraints, shoes, suits, and steering, helmets, gloves, and undergarments, fire suppression, and so much more. Shipping directly to you from our conveniently located Sterling, Virginia warehouse with thousands of in-stock items.
RP Performance is the only premier race shop in the region that specializes in both street and track Mazdas and is located right in the heart of racing at Summit Point's Gasoline Alley. RP has been involved in countless race wins and series championships across many classes with drivers of all ages. Not just a full-service shop, RP has been helping drivers with their individual racing and other track event needs for over 30 years, providing trackside support, arrive and drive packages, as well as race car transport services. And they're known for its help all attitude. RP Performance is your go-to for getting cars back on track for that positive experience at Summit Point when you're ready to pack it in. For more information about RP Performance, come talk to them here in the paddock. Call them at 304-728-6749 or email them at Brett, that's B-R-E-T, at rpperformanceracing.com.
If you like what you see today, become part of the action by joining Sports Car Club of America. Whether you want to drive, flag, or just have fun with cars, SCCA membership opens the door to all kinds of motorsports to feed your obsession, along with 65,000 like-minded members ready to be friends. Ask someone trackside how to get involved or visit SCCA.com for more information.
Since 1976, Radial Tire Company has been providing the Washington, D.C. area with quality tires, expert knowledge, and the finest service. They have earned a reputation as a premier specialist in hard-to-find performance tire and wheel applications and stock tires from all the top manufacturers for whatever you drive. From performance and race cars to SUVs and trucks to your daily drivers, Radial's mission is to assist you in getting the most out of your tires and car. To get a competitive quote on your next set of tires, now with free shipping, or to schedule online, visit RadialTireCompany.com or call them in Silver Spring at area code 301-585-2740. That's 301-585-2740.
Back here. Okay. Because there may not be any blue flag.
Okay.
It's only 15 lap. They may not catch the V's.
Welcome back to Summit Point Raceway. It is the 2025 U.S. Majors Tour here at Summit Point Raceway. I'm Greg Ginsburg along with Brian Donati. We got Spencer Gaynor here directing, pushing all the buttons for us, as well as our next race group heads out on track for their pace lap. And this is our first of two open wheel and Formula car groups. This is Formula V, Formula F, and I don't believe we have any Formula 600s here this weekend. And we'll see, we might be short a Formula F racer as well. I think we had one driver have some mechanical issues during qualifying. But let's run down the starting order here, and we'll see if this is, we'll see how many of our racers are here. Starting on pole today in the number 4 Honda-powered Piper Formula F machine representing the Glen region from Ajax, Ontario, Canada, to Parker Gill, with Michael Dowden starting on the outside of the front row, also in a Honda-powered DL7 Piper. He's from Newtown, Pennsylvania, represents the Philadelphia region. It's Michael Dowden. Starting on the inside of row number 2 today, also in Formula F, driving the number 42 Spectrum, representing the Northeast Pennsylvania region from Easton, Pennsylvania, Joe Parsons. And then we got David Scaler here today. David's starting 4th. He's driving the number 9 Fortec. He's out of Asbury, New Jersey, and representing South Jersey region of the SCCA. Jonathan Weisheit joins us here today in his JK Technologies XP1. The former Formula V national champion, who's been racing quite a bit lately in Formula F as well, returns to see battle in Formula V. He's out of Baltimore, Maryland, the number 61 machine. Ray Carmody out of Horseheads, New York, represents the Glen region. He starts 6th in the number 81 Mysterian. Jeff Vallejo in his Speed Sport AM5 will start 7th. He's in the number 29 Formula V, and he's from Brooklyn, New York. representing the New York region, and then Steve Rue driving the number 16 Formula F Wyvern SR1. Steve comes to us from New Fairfield, Connecticut, and is representing the New England region of the SCCA. As the pace car now comes onto the pit lane, turning things over to Parker Gill here, Brian, and we're ready to take the green. And the green flag, take my word for it, is in the air. There we go. We are racing here at Summit Point as Gill jumps out to an early lead over Michael Dowden, his teammate, as they head down into turn one. Side pod to side pod, wheel to wheel.
Very early.
Exactly, and Gill gets the position. And look at that, Joe Parsons in the spectrum. Tried coming underneath Michael Dowden. We'll see here, Brian, as they fan out coming into turn three. And Dowden does hold off Parsons there with our Formula V racers a little bit further back, and I believe that is the 9 of Scalar, currently your leader over Jonathan Weisheit, as they start to head down the hill and into turn number 1. And so it looks like there is one racer that did not take the green, Brian.
It looks like that's Stephen Rue in the 16. I know he had some problems yesterday, and he did have some problems earlier this morning, so hopefully he'll be able to get that fixed up and get that back out here tomorrow when we go 25 laps. But Weisheit we're going to see again later on this afternoon, Greg, because he's running an FE2 today. So we should definitely see him out here pulling double duty this weekend. But you talked about Parker Gill and Michael Dowden. Was watching them during qualifying. They were kind of back and forth as far as time frames go. They were nose to tail the entire time, for that first 15-minute practice, and even when we got to the second, which was supposed to be 20 minutes, back 15 again, nose to tail working together. Parsons was a little bit further back. He ended up starting in the very back of the qualifying section, so really couldn't get a good run with them. But we did see that he's still hanging in there right now as they come out of turn number 1 and come up out of turn 2. It is Dowden now leading Parker Gill in that number 8 machine, and Parsons a little bit about a second and a half back. But again, 15 laps, still a long way to go.
Yeah, indeed. And so Gill, who's just 20 years old now, Brian, and we mentioned that he's coming down from Ontario, Canada, was your 2024 Toyo Tires F1600 Series Rookie of the Year in Canada. Finished 5th overall, and he'd been karting for about 4 years or so before moving into the Formula Fs, the F1600 machines on the Pro Series. So we'll see how he works out today. As you mentioned, Michael Dowden, they're taking the lead in the number 8 machine. In Formula V, Jonathan Weisheit in the number 61 machine did manage to get by David Scalar, but really, typical close racing in Formula V at this point. We'll pick up that race in just a few moments here, but all within, I think, about a second and a half. A little bit of a gap right in the middle here as we see them coming through turn 10 to complete lap 1.
Looks like you've got Dowden and Gill now. They're going to go side by side coming out of turn 1 and out of turn 2, getting ready to head up into turn 3 again. And I believe that's going to be Gill that's going to have that inside line there, headed up over the hill down into the chute. But I tell you what, good little entrance going on into turn 1 the last time by when they came by, Greg. And Gill, he tried to really stick it in there on the inside, and Dowden really had nowhere to go but to let him go down in there because he got a great run out of turn 10 last time.
This is a neat battle. And, I always live for, frankly, Formula F or Formula 1600 racing. One, because it has always been, a step ladder to bigger, better things for Formula car racers. But to watch usually kids right out of karts get into these cars with these wheels that are sticking out, the suspension sticking out, that there's such an opportunity, given how close they race, to basically bang wheels together and send a car flying is just amazing. So we'll continue to watch this fight here as they lock in nose to tail again at the line. They're separated by about 14 hundredths of a second, and as they come under braking into turn 1 once again, Brian, side by side under braking. And who is that? It's not done yet as they come up towards turn number 3. and I think that's Gill to the inside there.
Yeah, I believe so. Again, both of these cars painted identical. The only difference on there is the 2 different color helmets and the 2 different numbers. Other than that, everything else is identical.
I mean, the least they could do is paint the mirrors different colors for it, but no such luck. Our potato cam just cannot pick up those kinds of differences.
It's not about us anymore.
No, it definitely isn't. All right, and here we go as they come through 6. And, and we saw this also through with the production race a little bit earlier, Brian. And I think it usually in Formula 1600, Formula F isn't as big a deciding factor towards the end of a race, that these cars are so light and so nimble that you typically don't see somebody running off their tires at the end of the race, where getting through turn 6 becomes a challenge. We'll see there. The last time we watched them go through 6A and 6B, slight differences in line, and actually, so with Gill slotting in once again behind Dowden, we saw where Gill was opening up that corner, that portion of the track a little bit more, Brian, and maybe putting a little bit less load on the tires. Yeah. Maybe it becomes a factor towards the end of the race, but I don't think it will be as much of one as we typically see with the tin tops.
Right. Yep. Nope. Absolutely. Both of these drivers, like I said, I watched them pretty much all through qualifying. They were nose to tail the entire time. One would get out and lead, trying to figure out which one of these two were the fastest, leading, and then battle with it, and then the other one would go by and go down through there. So to take a look at that as this race goes on, let's not forget our Formula V battle here that's kind of coming up out of turn 2 now. That's Jonathan Whiteshot leading in that 61 machine over the 9 of David Scaler. And, a little bit further back, then you have Raymond Carmody and Jeffrey Vallejo. Now, I watched Vallejo as well during qualifying because I'm really starting to learn and really like these Formula Vs. He really had a lot of brake lockup, both in turn 1 and turn 5 during qualifying.
Interesting.
So maybe having some concerns there, some problems there, maybe trying to baby this car around, still trying to get around that 81 of Raymond Carmody as they go down into turn 5. And again, you see a little bit of smoke. That really isn't the brake lockup.
That's
getting
overrun.
Back on the throttle.
Right.
And again, we always say this and we joke about it. If a Formula V is not smoking, that's when you have to worry about it.
That's when you're worried, exactly.
Right, especially when they get off the throttle and then get back on the throttle.
All right, so we watch here coming through turn 8. This is the battle for third right now in Formula V with Jeffrey Vallejo in the green number 29, Ray Carmody in that dark-colored number 81 machine as they come nose to tail into turn number 1. And should mention, Brian, we've seen Jeff Vallejo now run a number of not only U.S. Majors Tour races, but also regional races, primarily at New Jersey Motorsports Park. And his program, I think, has stepped up considerably in the last 2 years, as we've got now side-by-side coming down into turn number 1. Vallejo to the inside on Carmody, and Jeff Vallejo is going to take the position now here as they work through. So and it doesn't look like it's possibly done yet here as they come into 3. As Carmody got a good run out of 2, but just did not have the pace. Slots back in behind the green 29 there of Vallejo. All right, Brian, and now that we're about halfway through this race, we've got 9 laps remaining. Let me make a call to the grid for our next group. Attention in the paddock. First call to the grid for race group number 3, Spec Miata and SMX. Please head to the grid. Spec Miata and SMX, although I think it's just going to be Spec Miata today, Brian.
I don't think there is any SMX this weekend.
Group 3, please head to the grid.
Yeah, the lone man driving by himself on the entire circuit right now is that 42 of Joe Parsons. Everybody else has a race that you're battling, whether it's the overall lead in the Formula F there with Dowden and Gill, and then you've got Whiteshite and Scaler, and then you've got the 81 machine there, Raymond Camardi, and the 29 of Jeffrey Vallejo. Kind of everybody has a partner except for poor Joe.
Yeah, exactly.
Joe's out there running by himself.
Well, and so So Joe, and Joe's got a ton of history. Not all in that 2019 spectrum. Joe was your pole sitter for the 1998 runoffs, Brian, in Formula F, or what was then known as Formula Ford. And 2 years prior to that, 1996, finished second at the National Championship Runoffs. He was the Northeast Division Formula F champion 2 years ago, back in 2023. And he has been racing now for, well, I mean, obviously I don't want to say do the math because I can't do the math. But, if he finished on the podium in Formula Ford in 1996, he's been at it for a little while here.
Couple of years.
This is his 48th year racing with the Sports Car Club of America. So thank you, Joe, and for a man more than 70 years old, he's putting the smack down here today.
Yeah. Talk about Formula V. We talk about our leaders in the 61, Jonathan Whiteside, opening up a little bit now, a little bit over a second of David Scaler. But I tell you what, that second is basically nothing when you've got all these momentums with all of these cars. So here comes our overall leaders now with Michael Dowden and Parker Gill. They're coming up on the second part. Just getting ready to go past, as you can see right there on your screen, getting past with the Raymond Carmody and the 29 of Jeffrey Vallejo. So putting them a lap down there. Every single time, Greg, they come out of turn 10, Parker Gill pulls out, makes the pass going down into turn 1,
right.
But then Michael Dowden takes it back. I was looking at the overall times for each individual person because it also lists the position.
Right.
Every single time it puts Michael Dowden first, but he does get passed by Parker Gill at one point around this race.
He's just never been there when they came across the start-finish line, which is when it matters.
And it could be could be setting him up, saying, "Hey, okay, I know where we're at now. I know where I can get you." Right. So, again, fully teammates racing together, basically identical cars. Like I said, the only two differences in this car is obviously the two driver helmets and the numbers on the car. Everything else is identical.
The other way to look at it, Brian, is Michael Dowden at this point knows where the move is coming, probably when it's coming, and now how to defend against it as they come out of turn 10, practically side by side once again. And as they cross the line, it is still the number 8 machine who is shown as your leader as they go down into turn 1. And again, side by side. I mean, this is what I love about Formula F racing. By the way, we've got Russ Lundberg in the chat, RGL Motorsports, checking in from the left coast, from the Pacific Northwest. Hi, Russ. Thanks for joining us as he tells us, no, it does not have to, Formula 1600 doesn't have to be a stepping stone to other racing. And that is very true. And I think Russ just picked up, Russ, tell me if I'm wrong, I think it was a Formula 600 that you just picked up. Tell us a little bit about it in the chat. Also had a bunch of good friends of the SCCA chiming in and looking in on our last race. Nicole Cooper-Cephalo, who is here, of course, with Mark Cephalo Racing this weekend and was out on track in T4. Also have Trenton Kramer, B-Spec racer, in the field. Cephalo's just racing in Spec Miata.
Just in SM this weekend. So
Graham Fuller, who's a former national champion in GT Light. We'll have to see if he brings that car out and races his GT Light Toyota in F production, pardon me, which has been combined with GT Light this year. Lots of great friends of the SCCA joining us here this weekend from Summit Point. And if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and give us a big thumbs up. And you can also go ahead and subscribe to the DC Region YouTube channel. We bring you all of the Mid-Atlantic Road Racing Series races, and we should also be bringing you the U.S. Majors Tour event from New Jersey Motorsports Park this season as well. Yeah, just about a month and a half, 2 months, something like that.
Sometime between now and December.
Exactly. Oh, it's in July.
We know how you are with schedules, too. So
well,
maybe between now and our producer back there is cracking up because he knows how you are with the schedules. So.
Math, time. I'm awful. I'm like a black hole waiting to happen. All right, getting word that Jeff Vallejo.
No, David Scaler.
Scaler in the 9 Vortec, who was running second in Formula V as he was trying to chase down Jonathan Weishite. Weishite had just run his fastest lap of the race, and Scaler spun the car over at turn 3. We'll see where that puts him in relation to Vallejo and Carmody.
Yeah.
Although I think Carmody, Brian, has been having some problems. I'm showing him as being 2 laps down now. So we'll check back in a few moments here as we check back in with Gill and Dowden, who are perpetually joined at the wheel hubs.
Yeah. Well, here comes Scaler now, just now across the start-finish line. So when he was behind Whiteside before, he's now 18 seconds back.
Right. And Vallejo now all by himself, and I think Carmody may have brought the car down the pit lane. We'll continue to check here and see if that black 81 machine out of Horseheads, New York, is still out on track.
I don't see him in the camera views anywhere. May have stopped somewhere, but so he may have pulled it in. We weren't paying attention down on the pits.
All right, well, Brian, with 4 laps remaining, let me make another call to the grid for our next group. Attention in the paddock, attention in the paddock. Second call to the grid for race group number 3, Spec Miata. Please head to the grid. Spec Miata and SMX if you didn't qualify. Please head to the grid. Your race is next. Race group number 3 to the grid, please.
Greg, as our overall leaders now head down that front stretch and come down into turn number 1. Right there, it is going to be Gill's going to make that pass again over Dowden, but Dowden was leading at the start-finish line. Again, those two, as Greg was mentioning, not only attached by all 4 wheels, it seems, but they're pretty much running the exact same times.
Yeah.
Obviously, as we complete lap 12 here, the times are not even close to what they were running earlier in their lap 5. Lap times, but I'm telling you what, those two are really going to come down to the end. And again, I guarantee you they're really having some fun out there, because the last time by, as Parker Gill pulled out to go by, they were across the start-finish line, and Dowden led by 3/1000ths of a second.
Yeah.
It turned around. You could see Gills turning his head to look at him as he was going by. Like, I'm getting you again, but you're still ahead of me at the start-finish line.
Can I put my transponder on a stick and hold it out a little bit further?
How do I push this thing forward?
Exactly. I mean, it's like the whole go-kart thing. You sit in the go-kart here, and you're like bouncing up and down in the hopes that it'll actually propel you a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Probably the exact same thing as they cross the line. And this time, Brian, 3/100ths of a second separating Dowden and Gill here, and you as you said, they're back down into the 18s, but they're about 0.8 of a second off of what they were running earlier on in the race, down on lap 5 when they both set their fastest laps. But I mean, it doesn't really matter because they're running almost identical times as it is.
I believe Gill is now in front of Dowden again. It's hard to tell based off here, and it's hard to see with the numbers. But it does look like Gill was able to make the pass and stay out in front right there. So we'll see when they come by the start-finish line. But if that is, it was a great move headed down into turn 1 and able to hold on to it when they went up to turn 3.
As the trailing car gets a little loose there. Coming through turn 6. We'll track that again as they come through. Of course, I saw them coming down the hill. There we go. And I saw the single digits on the nose. I go, oh, wait, they're both single digits.
You thought you had it figured out.
Everything that I could use to identify these cars.
I told you, the only difference is the helmets and the numbers on the car.
All right. As they come across the line, we'll be able to see here, it is, again, the number 8 machine of Dowden as they both see now the white flag, and so it is 2 miles, 10 turns remaining as they go into turn 1 for the final time.
So Dowden is now in the lead still. Gill is on the driver's right coming up out of there. Dowden moved to the left and then went back to right to enter into turn 3. So again, down there. So when they come out next time, we'll see whether or not Gill makes that same move he's made the last 3 laps.
That he pops out coming out of 10.
Correct.
And it's not just the last 3 laps, Brian. He's done it almost every single lap.
Yeah, again, he moves out and stay. We'll see if he stays out there because Dowden, when he comes off at 10, moves back over to driver's right. We've seen this in a whole host of different other cars, not only this morning but here. Move back to drive right to break that 10. We'll see if David Gill stays, or Parker Gill, stays on the far left-hand side.
Well, and this may be his Dowden's downfall as he came out of turn 8 up the hill, as he stuck the car all the way driver's right, scrubbed off a lot of speed, and as they come out of turn 10 and across the line, Brian, perhaps the largest lead of the race for Michael Dowden, who takes the win in Formula F by 15/100ths of a second. Parker Gill will finish second. Joe Parsons will come home in third. And now we've got, it's not much of a fight at this point. There is Joe Parsons coming out of turn 8 and up the hill. And I believe just behind going into turn 8, we saw our Formula V leader, Jonathan Weisheit. We'll catch up with him in just a moment. But when we started our final lap, it was Weisheit and then Scaler over 20 seconds in arrears, and Jeff Vallejo, who had that sitting about 8 seconds back. So there you go. Jonathan Weisheit going to take the win in Formula V. There he is. That was we saw just ahead of that Jeff Vallejo, who was running a lap down from Weisheit. Both Scaler and Vallejo lap down. So in Formula V, it's Jonathan Weisheit, David Scaler, Jeff Vallejo. Ray Carmody retired after only 7 laps.
Tell you what, that David Scaler and that Jeffrey Vallejo battle, that actually closed up a lot, Greg, and I have a feeling that is due to that spin that Scaler had at that one point, just trying to nurse it around, because that battle ended up only being 4 seconds as opposed to 9.5 where it was a little bit further back.
All right, and Russ Lundberg, he says, he bought a KBS Mark 7 with a 2-stroke with a Rotax in it. So, and he said he's going to race it at the Portland Regionals and give Marjorie Lundberg something to think about it. All right, Brian, let me make a final call to the grid for our next race group, and we'll take a quick break. Attention to the paddock. Final call to the grid for race group 3. That's Spec Miata and maybe SMX. Please head to the grid. Race group 3, this is your final call to the grid. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a few moments with more racing action here from Summit Point Raceway. It's the 2025 U.S. Majors Tour. Stay with us.
The Spring Hill Suites Winchester is an all-suite property that features spacious suites, an indoor heated pool, complimentary hot buffet-style breakfast, a 24-hour fitness center, and complimentary Wi-Fi. Whether you're traveling in a group or flying solo, you'll find it easy to get comfortable in our spacious suites. We're conveniently located just off of Interstate 81 at exit 317 in a shopping center with many shops and dining options. Discount rooms are available. To book your suite today, call 540-431-3330.
Need a ride?
No.
Okay. Taking you back to simpler times.
Hey, dog. Belmont Classic Cars, Belmont, Ohio.
glad it has a third set of numbers. You got a lot of cars with 3 digits now. You know, and add-ons, you know, the infamous.
Welcome back to Summit Point Raceway. It is the 2025 U.S. Majors Tour presented by the Sports Car Club of America and the Washington, D.C. region of the SCCA. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Brian Donati. We got Spencer Gaynor sitting right over our shoulders, pushing all the buttons for us, giving you all the great views of today's action. And next up, it is Spec Miata, which we had 13 drivers set qualifying times, Brian. They're about ready to head out for their pace lap. Let's run down the starting order. Starting on pole today, driving the number 44 Mazda, representing the New England region of the SCCA and hailing from Plymouth, Massachusetts, it's Christian Sarnecki. Mark Cephalo from Sawyerville, Pennsylvania, representing Northeast Pennsylvania region. He's in the number 00 Planet Miata car. He will start on the outside of the front row. John Salerno will start third. He's out of Fairfield, Connecticut, represents the New England region. The number 34 machine there on the starting third. Starting fourth, Will Dodd in the number 11 Mazda. He's representing the Ohio Valley region. He's out of Amherst, Ohio. The number 11 machine starts fourth. Dr. Dom Luigi will start fifth today. He's in the number 46 machine. He is from Binghamton, New York, represents the Glen region. James Lindenthal out of Morgantown, West Virginia. With our home region, the Washington, D.C. region of the SCCA. He starts sixth today in the number 18 machine. Zachariah Rosenberg bringing that Mazda that we saw a little bit earlier today back. He's going to start seventh today in the number 171 machine. He's representing the New York region. He's from Englewood, New Jersey. Mountaintop, Pennsylvania's Nicole Cooper Cephalo getting behind the wheel of a Mazda today. She's going to start eighth in the 82 car, with Ken Williams starting ninth. Ken's in the number 07 machine. He's representing the Northeast Pennsylvania region, and he's from Wyoming, Pennsylvania. Dylan Moore's out of Morgantown, West Virginia, and he will start 10th today outside of row number 5 in the 182 car. Kay Doss from Chagrin Falls, Ohio will start 11th today. The driver of the 190 machine represents the Northeast Ohio region. Then we got Gary Jenkins out of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Cut off there, Brian. Give me the last. I never get to have the last word.
Yeah, I know.
Gary's out of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, represents the Florida region of the SCCA. The number 70 machine starts 12th, and starting, well, depending on how you look at it, either lucky or unlucky 13, because it's the last car in the field. The 186 machine of Bill Dodd, representing the Northeast Ohio region. Brian, as the field behind the beautiful, iconic Toyota Pontiac G6 pace car, driven by longtime pace car driver with us, Graham. What's Graham's last name? I was about to say Graham Fuller again.
Well, maybe it is Graham Fuller. Who knows?
It's not Graham Fuller. We just call him Graham.
It's Graham.
He's bringing the field up the hill, and we'll have our start here momentarily. Is that Pontiac, and not only is it beautiful, Brian, but it somehow manages to labor up the hill, even with the extra electrics necessary to drive that light on the roof. But the field now turned over to our pole sitter. That is Christian Sarnecki out of Plymouth, Massachusetts, in the black and yellow number 44. I think that's the MBM Racing machine. As our starter looks over the field, and green flag is in the air. And Brian, once again, we're racing here at Summit Point as our front row of Sarnecki and Cephalo, they get in line. Sarnecki going down center of the track, Cephalo right behind, and then we have John Salerno who pops to the inside there at the last moment to try to take a position away from Cephalo. Cannot get it done. And Sarnecki's going to lead the field through with Cephalo, Salerno, Will Dodd, and the number 11 machine as the rest of the group gets in line. Very easy to pick out a couple of the cars there. Dodd, he is in the red number 11 machine. And then we also have running there, and I love this livery, Brian. It is the throwback Jim Goffrey livery that Dom Luigi runs on his Mazda. Of course, Goffrey, a 4-time GT2 national champion, ran his Nissans in that livery. And Dom's wife's uncle is Jim Goffrey.
Oh.
What is that? That's not like a third removed cousin or something. I don't know.
Somebody along that tree.
Yeah, it's his wife's uncle.
You know, I tell you what, Greg, again, I was watching another qualifying run here, you know, with Zarnecki and Cephalo earlier this morning, and Zarnecki was really getting the most out of everything he could out of that car, really to go, you know, get 2/10 on Cephalo. Now, Cephalo hasn't run this car in quite some time, bringing this car. He's been running T4 in his other Mazda, so bringing it out here to run. His wife is in the field as well. I saw them yesterday practicing, but Zarnecki was really, really loose all day yesterday and even this morning during qualifying when I watched the very first one. I didn't watch the second one, watched the first one. Really loose getting out of turn 10 there. So we'll see whether or not he's going to be able to take care of that equipment as they come up out of turn number 2 and heading up into turn number 3 right now. He's opened up by about 2 car lengths over Cephalo, and then you've got Salerno in there in that 34 machine right on the back bumper. Again, this is another product of these cars need to have a partner there to be able to push. If those two can work together, stay in line, and Salerno doesn't really try to pass Cephalo early on, that will enable them to get back up to Zarnecki if he starts to open up that lead. If they start to run side by side, that's going to allow Zarnecki to pull away here.
All right, and so last year, Brian, I was just going back through the archives and in Spec Miata during the Saturday race at the 2024 U.S. Majors Tour here at Summit Point Raceway. Sarnecki took the win with Rob Hines finishing in second. On Sunday for the feature race, that order was reversed. Rob Hines took the win. Sarnecki finished second. Now, we don't see Sarnecki down this neck of the woods all that often, you know, but obviously against some very tough competition. Rob, a former SCCA national champion and also podium winner at the net runoffs in Spec Miata. You know, a very, very tough fight. And Sarnecki did very well last year against Hines. Hines, by the way, not here racing this weekend, Brian, but was just on the other Brian's show on the Inside the SCCA podcast, talking about his racing experiences.
Yeah. Tell you what, Greg, just as I had mentioned, as they come out of turn 2, there you go. There you see it. You see Salerno getting a good run out of turn 2 upside Mark Cephalo. That is going to move Cephalo back into third right now. And no, your eyes are not deceiving you. That is another car that looks like Cephalo's, and that is Nicole Cooper Cephalo and Ken Williams. All 3 cars are painted the same.
Livery.
So, you know, they're not. You're not seeing triple there. It is the.
Thank God.
You know, it is 3 different cars. Cephalo falling back into the clutches now. Will Dodd in that number 11 machine, Greg, as they come through turn 5. So again, I'm wondering if Cephalo may be having a little bit of a, you know, an issue with that car. Maybe the handling just not right, because he has fallen back a little bit far back from John Salerno in that 34 car. Mark does run really, really well here. And again, first time back in this car in quite some time. So
and I was going to say, this is a good run so far by Dodd. He finished 6th here last year in the feature race. You know, and we talked about how he comes to us from Ohio. He was the 2019 NASA Great Lakes runner-up in Spec Miata. So he's I don't know how tough the competition is out there. I mean, certainly he's got a lot of practice at Mid-Ohio, and Mid-Ohio to some extent has I think some similarities to Summit Point Raceway.
Yeah. I'm laughing at the chat. Mr. Rod Miles says,
Graham, yeah.
He identifies as Graham Fuller just like the Pontiac identifies as a Toyota, but it is Graham Taylor.
Yeah, Graham, it is Graham Taylor. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Ralph. At least we didn't say he identifies as a Pinto, which is what Ralph would be very know very well. Yeah, I just had a brain fart there. So it happens. All right, so things starting to stretch out. Sarnecki just reset his fastest lap of the race, ran a 1:27.38 here, and last time across the line had about a second and a half on the rest of the Spec Miata field. I should say that lap time quite a bit off the track record here at Summit, about 3 seconds off the lap record. Some guy that we've never heard of, named Mike Collins or Michael Collins, set the record back in 2018 at a 1:24.88. So Sarnecki about 2.5 seconds off of that lap time right now. Although Salerno just reset fast lap, and he knocked about a tenth off of Sarnecki's margin that last time by. But, we are starting to see Sarnecki and now Salerno really starting to separate out from Cefalo Dodd and James Lindenthal, who's now moved up in the fifth, has gotten around Dom Luigi.
I'll tell you what, Luigi and Lindenthal, they're kind of nose to tail. They're within half a car length right there.
They're right at the tail end of that shot.
It looks a little bit bigger than it does on the screen there, but right now it is closer than it seems as they go through. Lindenthal starts to open it up a little bit. So, but last time by, Lindenthal and Luigi, they were pretty darn close coming up out of turn 3. One of the things I'm noticing, Greg, here is looking at these, these SM, these Spec Miata machines. They're really getting wide in there in turn 6, really using as much of the racetrack as they can. Obviously, you want to get down into turn 5, but you almost have to delay a little bit getting back on that throttle to get it. I think these guys are really pushing these cars to the limit today. Again, it's getting warmer out there. The sun's trying to peek through, but it's very, very cloudy, overcast today. This is the best, race conditions right now that's out there. Got a little bit of a wind blowing. It's nice and cool out there, but I tell you what, as this day goes on, it's going to get warmer, but the clouds are going to stay overhead. I don't believe the sun's really going to come completely out, but it is starting to get a little bit warmer. I think you'll see time start to dip down
a little bit.
But I think this could be the last group that has some really good times.
All right, and Brian, as we were running down the order here, Gary Jenkins currently sitting 12th in the number 70 machine out of the Palm Beach Garden.
Palm Beach Garden, Florida.
Yeah, is what was cut off. Nice to see Gary's back after about 10 years away. Here, back in the saddle, and he said, again, he's coming up from South Florida. It says he got into racing after doing a track day in a high horsepower car, getting passed by someone in his Spec Miata. Talked to the driver, and next thing you know, he's racing his Spec Miata. I think that's pretty cool. So, and when he's not at the track, he's a tax professional. He's a CPA down in Florida. So now that it is the 19th, I guess he's 4 days past. He's got some time off. Exactly.
Well, you still got another tax. Business stuff comes in there a little bit later.
Quarterly, but
dates are in May. He's probably still gotten some stuff doing it. The best mantra I've ever seen. It's always right to do right, and it's always wrong to do wrong. Well, that just kind of says a lot there.
Exactly. All right, nice fight here right now with Dom Luigi right up onto the back of Lindenthal. Luigi in the yellow, white, and red number 46, and you see Lindenthal in that green number 18 machine. That right now, the battle for 5th. And I think it is one of the 2 closest races that we have. We also have a great fight going on just a little bit further back from this with Nicole Cooper-Cefalo, who just reset her personal best lap with Ken Williams, the 82 Planet Miata car. And I think here they are coming out of 2. Nicole Cooper-Cefalo, Ken Williams, and Dylan Moore all in a line. All 3 of them there, and Moore running. Moore taking more gravel than I think he wanted to going through there. Actually, he's trying to open up these corners as much as possible. Drops a wheel coming down the hill in the 4 as well, as we see Ken Williams get a little bit defensive coming down the hill in the 5, trying to hold off Moore's advances down the hill.
Yeah.
And as Williams was doing that, it's allowed Nicole Cooper Cephalo to open up at least a little bit of a gap, more than a gap than they had at the line there, which was a little bit less than a second the last time by.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got Zachariah Rosenberg, who we saw earlier in Group 1 in that 171 machine. When they came through turn 6 last time, you saw a little bit of the dust still kicking up. That was from him on the left rear there as he went through. So again, getting as much of the racetrack as you can without really going off. And it really hasn't rained here very much. No. So, it's dirt. I mean, it is just nothing but 100% dirt.
But real nice, tight, close racing there. Brian, with 8 laps to go, let me make a first call to the grid for our next group. Attention in the paddock. First call to the grid for race group 4. Open wheel and prototypes, Formula Atlantic, Formula Continental, FE2, Formula X, prototype and prototype 2. Please head to the grid. Race group 4, Formula Atlantic, Formula Continental, FE2, FX, P, and P2 racers. Please head to the grid. Your race is next.
Drivers are going to come up out of turn number 8. When they come up there, you're still going to see a little bit more dust being kicked up. That was kicked up by the left rear there of the 34 of John Salerno. So you can see that on your screen right now. So here comes Nicole. Here comes Ken Williams and Dylan Moore. Again, they've probably got to be thinking, Greg, man, what? Every time we go into turn, we're coming into dust. It's kind of hard to see.
So Ben Foltz is in the chat, wanting maybe say the field's a little bit smaller this year than past years, and yeah, that is definitely the case, Ben. But look, this is amateur racing. It's Easter weekend, and obviously. Not all families want to spend their weekend at the racetrack. Brian and I and Spencer were all totally confused by that concept.
Yeah, I don't understand. I thought maybe every weekend we should be the racetrack.
Of course, I've got an advantage not being, my big holiday was like last week, so I'm good to go. But hopefully you'll be with us here on Easter Sunday for our feature races as well.
Gotta stop by and get me some Cadbury eggs.
That's right.
Some chocolate tomorrow.
And if you think about it, Formula One, they only have a 20-car field on Easter weekend, so they're not doing much better. Never mind that they always have a 20-car field.
Maybe what we should do, and Spencer, we should do this tomorrow. We'll get here early and we'll hide the Easter eggs around the racetrack, so the drivers will have to stop
and pick them up.
Get out, pick them up, and the one with the most Easter egg wins.
Can we take bets on who that's going to be?
Nope.
I have some thoughts early on.
You have to get out. You have to redo your belts. You have to pick the egg up. You got to keep the egg. You can't squish the egg. There'll be real eggs. So, no, eggs are too expensive to buy anymore. Tell you what, Greg, I'm keeping an eye on this John Salerno in that 34 machine again. He just set the fastest lap of the race, and Mark Cephalo sitting right now in second. Just now getting ready to come down and come out of turn number 2, headed up into turn number 3. There they are.
Yep.
Salerno last time by was about 2/10, but he was a little bit quicker. I watched him coming out of turn 10 down into turn 1, and I tell you what, he was just that much better than Cephalo. So, again, as we've got 6 laps to go here in this race, they are really trying to get as many space as they can between them, but Salerno is just that much faster. You can see it there as they come out of turn 6 along with Lindenthal and Luigi, but I tell you what, Salerno looks a little bit faster the second half of this race over Cephalo in that 00 machine.
And one of my fellow members of the tribe, we've got Wrecker Boy Rob Miles in the chat suggesting you get Chinese food. That's what we do on the big Christian holidays. All right, as we watch now going down into turn 1, Brian here is popping out alongside Cephalo. John Salerno now as they come down into turn 1. That's Salerno to driver's right. He's on your left-hand side of your screen. Cephalo right behind. Cephalo is going to try to come underneath the Salerno car and pop right back alongside. And as they come out of the corner, indeed, Mark Cefalo is able to hold off that pass attempt and keep Salerno back in third place. And Brian, that's always the challenge going into turn one here at Summit. If you go in, you go into the inside, you go in deep, you obviously compromise your entry to that corner, and the car is going to push automatically to the outside. What you have to be able to do is keep the car from pushing all the way to driver's left and try to hold off the driver who was on the outside, in this case Cefalo, from coming back underneath you, and Salerno wasn't able to do it.
Yeah, Salerno was kind of in the middle of the racetrack there, and so when he tried to get in there, Mark let him go, right? Mark got as close to him as he could, kind of pinched him down a little bit, let him go, took that left, and then made that right, and that actually helped with the speed to get off that corner, and that enabled Cefalo to do that over-under. Textbook, we see it here all the time, but a fantastic over-under move there.
All right, and as they come out of turn 10, Cefalo manages to hold off the number 34 machine. Let's see if Salerno pops to the inside again. And he does as they come down now into turn one. It's Groundhog Day, Brian, as we come into turn one. And you notice there, Salerno, even after, so Cefalo stayed almost center of track to pin Salerno to the inside, and then moved back over driver's left to open up his entrance to the corner and carry speed. And as he did that, Salerno was still committed to being all the way to the inside, which again impacted his entry speed.
Correct.
It impacted his angle of attack, and it impacted his exit. As Salerno, great move, comes underneath Cefalo, going down through the chute through turn 4, and now Salerno takes over second place.
Yeah, I was able to get back by him. You talked about another textbook over-under by Cefalo going down into turn 1, and we'll see there as Salerno got him right back going down through the chute. We'll see whether or not he's going to be able to pull away a little bit, but we'll see whether or not Cefalo is going to be able to do the exact same thing down into turn 1, Greg.
Attention in the paddock. Second call to the grid for race group number 4, Formula Atlantic, Formula Continental, Formula X FE2, Prototype, and Prototype 2. Please head to the grid. Race group 4, Formula Atlantic, Formula Continental, FE2, FX, P, and P2 racers. Please head to the grid.
Continue to watch that battle as they head down in turn 1. We'll see whether or not they're going to do that. That over-under, again, doesn't look like that's going to happen. Spencer, let's leave it right here because here you've got Dominic Luigi and you've got James Lindenthal. That is the battle for 5th and 6th. Looks like Luigi's going to be able to pull around Lindenthal. Hopefully he's going to make that stick there as they come through. Again, it looks like Lindenthal may do that over-under, Greg, the same as Cefalo was doing.
Yeah, and as they come through, Luigi now to driver's left, he's got the inside position going into turn 3. And Lindenthal actually pinched down a little bit on Luigi, which, you could do that and make things very difficult for the driver to the inside. And so there you go. Lindenthal back ahead of Luigi and keep him in 5th position, Luigi in 6th. I mean, that is so difficult, Brian, if you're not already a nose up on the car head going into turn 3, because if you pinch somebody down to the inside, it is an increasing radius turn, but it goes uphill, and the early entry when you enter in is very, very sharp, and it can be very difficult to carry speed through that corner. As we now have 2 laps remaining, next time Sarnecki, who is our leader, as he just now completes lap number 14, or completes lap 13, pardon me. Next time he comes by, he's going to get the 1 to go sign, the white flag here. So time running down in this battle for second between Lindenthal and Cefalo.
Yeah, again, here comes that battle with Lindenthal and Luigi. It looks like Luigi's going to do it again, try to go through there. We'll see whether or not Lindenthal, I keep saying Cefalo because they're both doing the exact same move. Whether or not Lindenthal is going to be able to do that over or under again.
Yeah, I'm saying Cefalo and Lindenthal when it should be Cefalo and Salerno. You're saying
saying
Lindenthal and
Luigi.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
All right, there you go. Lindenthal holds off Dr. Dom once again.
Again, another good battle here just now coming up out of turn 2. Spencer, let's keep it up on going into turn 2 and then getting out of turn 3. That's the Nicole Cooper Cephalo, Ken Williams, and Dylan Moore. Those three, and again, that's 8th, 9th, and 10th. They have not been separated by more than a car length for the last 4 laps.
And Will Dodd, thankfully, Will Dodd is the trailing car in that group, Brian, because every time we go to show these 3 drivers, he runs through the gravel trap at 3, which would have probably taken out the windshield of a car that was directly behind him, throwing gravel in the air as the white flag is in the air for Christian Sarnecki. He's starting his last lap as we continue to watch this battle for 8th right now here in Spec Miata, as they have about a lap and a half remaining.
Really good battles pretty much all over the place right now, Greg. You've got the battle there for 2nd and 3rd with Salerno and Cephalo. That's nose to tail. And then you've a little bit further back, you've got Lindenthal and Luigi. That's for 5th and 6th. Zachariah Rosenberg all by himself right there. Then you've got that battle we were talking about between 8th, 9th, and 10th between Nicole Cooper Cephalo, Ken Williams, and Dylan Moore. Again, those 3 have not been separated by more than a car length the last 4.5, 5 laps.
All right, and let's jump back, and here it is. This is the battle for 2nd right now in Spec Miata with John Salerno in the blue 34, Mark Cephalo in the green and something. Green and blue number 00 machine is there coming through the carousel for the last time, and it looks like Salerno has managed to hold off the Cephalo car as they come up the hill. It's going to be a pretty tough slog. Although we saw it in our first race of the day, Brian. You have trouble in the final corner, you can do it. But
Sarnecki going really wide there, Greg.
Yeah, Sarnecki took a bit of gravel on the exit of turn 10, but he's going to come across the line, does the weave. And for the 2nd year in a row, Brian, he's going to be our Saturday winner here at the Super Tour, as we've got the battle now for 2nd coming across the line. Salerno's going to hold off Cephalo, but that battle that we've been watching as Will Dodd comes across in 4th between Luigi and Lindenthal. They came out of turn 10, both in a huge slide through turn 10. And both of them managed to gather the cars back in before they got to the gravel trap. Luigi will finish behind Lindenthal. So Lindenthal 5th, Luigi 6th, Zachariah Rosenberg 7th. And then here comes that battle for 8th as Nicole Cooper Cephalo beats teammate Ken Williams to the line. She'll finish 8th. Williams will finish 9th. Dylan Moore drops back about 2 seconds on that last lap. He'll round out the top 10. Key Doss will finish 11th. Gary Jenkins 12th. Bill Dodd will finish, in this case now, Brian, that the race is over. It's unlucky 13th. Yeah. As we are going to take another quick break, but before we do, let me make a final call to the grid for our next group. Attention in the paddock. Attention the paddock. Final call to the grid for race group number 4. This is Formula Atlantic, Formula Continental, Formula Enterprises 2, Formula X, PNP 2, race group number 4. This is your final call to the grid. And we're going to take a quick break. Thanks to our partners and sponsors that are bringing all the action here from Summit Point Raceway and the 2025 U.S. Majors Tour. Stay with us.
At OG Racing, when you are shopping on our website, when we say in stock, this is what we mean by in stock. Seats and seat bases, brakes, harnesses and restraints, shoes, suits, and steering, helmets, gloves, and undergarments, fire suppression, and so much more. Shipping directly to you from our conveniently located Sterling, Virginia warehouse with thousands of in-stock items.
RP Performance is the only premier race shop in the region that specializes in both street and track Mazdas and is located right in the heart of racing at Summit Point's Gasoline Alley. RP has been involved in countless race wins and series championships across many classes with drivers of all ages. Not just a full-service shop, RP has been helping drivers with their individual racing and other track event needs for over 30 years, providing trackside support, arrive and drive packages, as well as race car transport services. And they're known for its help all attitude. RP Performance is your go-to for getting cars back on track for that positive experience at Summit Point when you're ready to pack it in. For more information about RP Performance, come talk to them here in the paddock. Call them at 304-728-6749 or email them at Brett, that's B-R-E-T, at rpperformanceracing.com.
If you like what you see today, become part of the action by joining Sports Car Club of America. Whether you want to drive, flag, or just have fun with cars, SCCA membership opens the door to all kinds of motorsports to feed your obsession, along with 65,000 like-minded members ready to be friends. Ask someone trackside how to get involved or visit SCCA.com for more information.
Since 1976, Radial Tire Company has been providing the Washington, D.C. area with quality tires, expert knowledge, and the finest service. They have earned a reputation as a premier specialist in hard-to-find performance tire and wheel applications and stock tires from all the top manufacturers for whatever you drive. From performance and race cars to SUVs and trucks to your daily drivers, Radial's mission is to assist you in getting the most out of your tires and car. To get a competitive quote on your next set of tires, now with free shipping, or to schedule online, visit RadialTireCompany.com or call them in Silver Spring at area code 301-585-2740. That's 301-585-2740.
Welcome back to Summit Point Raceway. It's a 2025 U.S. Majors Tour presented by the Washington, D.C. region of the the SCCA, the redundancy department. I'm Greg Ginsberg, along with Brian Donati, Spencer Gaynor here as well. Next up, our second open wheel race of the day. These are for our larger open wheel cars, typically with wings, and also our prototype cars. Today, just three different classes: Formula Continental, Formula Enterprises 2, and Prototype 2. Let's run down the starting order. Starting on pole today, driving the number 88 Citation out of Fredericksburg, Virginia, representing the Blue Ridge region of the SCCA with a qualifying time of 1 minute 10.689. It's Tim Miner. Sam Harrington's your FE2 pole sitter. He's going to start on the outside of the front row. He's driving the number 33 FE2 machine. He's from Finksburg, Maryland, represents the DC region. And starting on the inside of row number 2, also representing the DC region, the number 26 Formula Continental Van Diemen RF98 of Rick Silver. Starting on the outside of row number 2. Well, here's our answer today, Brian, because I forgot they're in different run groups this weekend. Jonathan Weisheit, who we just saw take the win in Formula V a little while ago, he's going to come out in the number 67 FE2 machine. He's out of Baltimore, Maryland, and represents the DC region. Chuck Moran's going to start on the inside of row number 3, driving the number 45 Crossley 71F Formula Continental. That is the 45 car. He's from Oakton, Virginia, represents the Old Dominion region. Russell Straight Jr., will start 6th today. He's in the number 91 FE2 machine. He's from Alden, New York, representing the Western New York region. And then starting 7th today, our sole prototype car, he's running the number 17 Radical SR3, and he's from New Wilmington, Pennsylvania, representing the Steel Cities region. It's Ryan Sorry.
Tell you what, Greg, I think, didn't we used to see Russell Straight Jr. in a Formula 500 at that point, and now moving up into the FE2s? Yeah. First time I've seen him run in a while, but
yeah,
I remember that in the 500.
He started in an FE2 last season.
Did he? Okay.
And ran, I think, had run a couple of Super Tour events, and had also run a couple of majors. I'll go back and look and see if he ran here last year as the field comes onto the front straight. A very fast approach to the start line by Tim Miner and Sam Harrington. Green flag in the air, and we are racing once again here at Summit Point. And I want to apologize. We're having some internet connectivity issues here. Some of our cameras getting as jumpy as Brian and I were when we had coffee this morning. As Sam Harrington and Tim Miner go down into turn 1. Tim Miner, he is in the white Formula Continental citation with the Dayglow orange down at the bottom of the car. He had some mechanical issues a couple weeks ago at Virginia International Raceway for the Super Tour. Good to see he's got that car back up and running. He is currently your leader going down into turn number 1. Sam Harrington, who leads FE2 in the number 33 machine, second into the corner there. There he is in that dark colored machine with Rick Silver, John Weisheit, Chuck Moran, pretty much the way we started off. And there we go, right at the back of the field in that white number 17, the white number 17 Radical SR3. That is Ryan Sorry. Sorry, who has been racing motorcycles since 2006, Brian. Just got into auto racing about 5 years ago, but they have been, Sorry apparently runs a team that's been racing with our good friend, well, not racing with our friend, Brandon Kazmarek, who covers the WRL races. He's found a team, Proper Performance, that races 2 former TCA Honda Civics. Mm-hmm. So the Radical, little... I'm not going to say that the Radical is a radical departure from the Hondas, but now that I just have, there you go. And as we've got one lap in the books now, Tim Miner, your overall leader, and what we saw, Brian, in qualifying, and just to, I guess, prepare our viewers in this race, is, well, the way every car was gridded up, it was Formula Continental, then Enterprise, then Continental, then Enterprise, then Continental, then Enterprise, and it was almost 2 seconds separating each and every one of those cars. Yeah. And I think we're starting to see this already here now with 2 laps in the books, how this is playing out. So, we'll continue to watch this, and, certainly no racer always runs a perfect race. We may see something happen that'll bring some of these races a little bit closer together. We see here that Chuck Moran and Rick Silver did manage to get ahead of Jonathan Weisheit. Actually, Moran got ahead of Weisheit, who Weisheit started 4th on the field on the outside of row number 2. Moran inside of row number 3 in 5th position. He's managed to get around Weisheit.
Yeah. I really think there's going to be a good battle here between Weisheit and Russell Straight. That'll be for 2nd and 3rd. In FE2, I think Harrington is starting to open up 3 seconds faster than both of those drivers. But again, anything can happen. I think that, again, the battle on the racetrack will be between 67 of Weisheit and Russell Straight Jr. In that 91. I believe both coming out of the same stable from that was it all sport team, I believe.
And of course, Tim Miner, who is our overall leader right now, former SCCA National Champion in Continental, two-time F2000 Pro Champion as well, and he likes to remind us, took his very first driver's school, Brian, in 1988, right here at beautiful Summit Point Raceway. And he's had the same crew chief. Guess we should call him out. Maybe he can hear us there on the pit wall. Tim Reedy, who's been Tim Miner's crew chief since 1995.
It takes a lot to be there that long, right? That's a lot. That's either family or one of the best friends that you could ever have, because you know how a driver is. They come in, they take their helmet off and complain this thing isn't right, it doesn't work very well, it's junk. Then the crew chief has to sit there, listen to it, and make the changes, right? So
exactly. Now remember, all races here this weekend, all races today are scheduled for 15 laps. Races tomorrow scheduled for 25 laps or 50 minutes, whichever comes first. So the strategy for tomorrow's races, I think, considerably different than what we see here today. And we've already seen a couple of races where maybe some of the racers would approach things a little differently. I think about our small bore race this morning with H Production with Rick Benazik, who jumped out to that early lead and spent a good portion of his race chasing down the overall leader in Touring 4 and hunting and hounding him.
Yeah.
And I think it came back to hurt him towards the end of the race. He's obviously going to have a very different approach, not only to how he races the race, but probably also the setup of the car, because it was pretty clear that both Brannon and Mike Kelly had much better performing cars at the end of a 15-lap race.
Yeah.
Imagine what happens when you add another 10 laps onto that.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes where and again, I know people say, wow, 25 laps, that's still a sprint race,
right.
But it's it's 50 miles. You have to really think about this. Is you've got to take care of your equipment, right? You have to look at it and say, okay, at the halfway point, then it becomes go time because you're 12, 13 laps in. Then it becomes when you push it. I know my strategy always, whenever I would race, even the 20-lap races here, and even in the 25-lap races, and even in my 30-minute races I do now, it becomes just hang on to it, take care of the equipment, put yourself in the right spot. Don't make any dumb moves early on where you can't recover from that, right? So, again, strategy definitely comes into play here with a 25-lap race here. So you really got to take care of it. Then it becomes go time. But again, the minute you put the helmet on and you start to roll off the grid, as well as I do, and you're sitting here laughing because we've talked about this. Yeah. We've talked about this so many times sitting up here, early mornings and even late afternoons. It becomes, what are you thinking about? Well, it becomes thinking about I got to get in front of the guy in front of me, or I got to, he's 2 or 3 cars ahead of me in position. I've got to really make sure that I get ahead of him, right? And then you run the tires off, you run the brakes off when you get to the heavier cars.
Cars, exactly. All right, so and speaking about heavy cars, Brian, let me make a first call to the grid for our next race group, because the big heavy ground pounders, they're next. Attention in the paddock. First call to the grid for race group 5, American Sedan, GT1, GT2, GT3U, GTX, Super Touring Under, T1, T2, and T3. Race group number 5, big bore racers, please head to the grid. You're up next. All right, as we check in here with this open wheel and prototype race, Tim Miner, your overall leader, also leads the Formula Continentals. Margin right now in Formula Continental, almost 16 seconds over Rick Silver, with Chuck Moran 7 seconds back in third. In FE2, Sam Harrington has 18 seconds on Jonathan Weisheit. Russell Straight, Brian, the race that we had just been watching a few moments ago, looks like Straight has fallen off Weisheit's pace, now about 6 seconds separating them. Probably the best battle, I would say the best battle so far. Ryan Surrey, who's fighting himself right now, is our only racer in P2.
Well, last time by, and I was watching us coming through the carousel, watch it coming up out of turn 8 and up out of turn 9. or at a turn 10 this time down the front stretch, and that's Chuck Moran
Yeah.
and Rick Silver, right? So Chuck Moran last time by was really only 0.8 of a second. That has now kind of gone by. Now that's 2.5 seconds back.
Yeah.
Between Silver and Moran. So Moran was gaining on Silver in that, again, second place in that Formula Continental. But Silver opened up the door, maybe looked in the rearview mirror, on the side mirrors, I should say, and saw how close he was getting. As objects really do appear closer than they are, and said, "Whoop! I got to get going."
In the right mirror, the left mirror, or all mirrors?
Yeah.
Or no mirrors.
I said rearview mirror. If these guys have a rearview mirror, they have they're looking at something that they shouldn't be. So
exactly.
And we're at the hottest part of the day right now, right? And this is, a little bit over 80 degrees. It hasn't been 80 degrees. And again, the internet here is really, really struggling to keep up.
Sorry, guys.
Today. So it is, and you get, the heat and everything that's been going on the last couple of days. This track is really starting to lose the grip that it had earlier this morning, and we're going to talk about this when the next group comes out, because when you see the star-studded lineup that's in that group right there, you talk about strategy in that group. When the helmet goes on, there's no strategy. It's every driver for himself. Doesn't matter what class it is. It's all about everything you can do to get to the lead of the overall. That's all they care about.
So Brian, when you said that our next group is star-studded, would that explain why they've got the red carpet down at the grid?
Well, when you've got
when you've got luminaries like James Jost, I mean, you absolutely have to have a red carpet for the field. Right?
Daniel Richardson, Chip Herr, Andrew Aquilante,
Marshall
Kurt Rezatano. I mean, it is a who's who of star-studded.
National champions.
I'm not sure how they're going to be able to get not only the cars, but the heads in those helmets around the grid. That's what's really going to be tough.
Well, I almost didn't get James Jost's head out of registration last night. It was so big. So, but yes, definitely. Next race up should be a barn burner. And a lot of these races that we're talking about in different classes across the board, but we've got national champions in almost every single class that's racing coming up here in our next group. And so, Brian, probably a great opportunity. Let me ring the annoying bells one more time. Attention in the paddock. Second call to the grid for race group 5, American Sedan. GT1, GT2, GT3U, GTX, STU, T1, T2, and T3. Please head to the grid. Race group 5. This is your second call to the grid. That made me feel better. As things are, well, how do I put this gently, Brian? They're opening up here on track as Tim Minor just now completes his 10th of 15 laps, so 2/3 of the way through this race. And Sam Harrington crossed the line, second overall, your leader in FE2. Almost 13 seconds separate those two racers. And the last time I checked in, it was typically about 15 seconds between racers in each class.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Greg. But you can really see, compared to where these drivers went out for qualifying, Group 4, not only early this morning, but their second qualifying run, the lap times that they put in. Because, again, their second qualifying time seems to have been the fastest times that they had, so the track had a little bit more grip in them when they went out. Tim Minor running a second and a half slower than he did earlier this morning in that second group. Sam Harrington was within a second of the track record here for FE2, and I know that is a lot, but again, that 1:11 time frame just set his fastest lap time of the race in lap 10 at a 1:12.328. So again, the track is really starting to lose the grip. With what these drivers need in their tires. Rick Silver, he's running in the 113 bracket right now, and he ran under that this morning. Jonathan Whiteside, 113.879. He's in the 115 range, right? Same thing with Chuck Moran,
and the interesting thing, Brian, is we've still got a number of these races like Silver, Weishite, Straight and Sorry that are actually setting personal bests in the session. Maybe not for the day, but at least in this race, they're continuing to knock time off. It's just the track is that much slower than it was earlier today in qualifying.
Yep. And the grip is, as hot as it is, the sun has come out a little bit here. I see a little bit of breaks in there. It's really starting to warm this track up, which is the grip is just going away.
Yeah.
Right. And so what ends up happening as well is the hotter it gets during the day, the motors get hot. They don't run. The air is not as optimal as they want. That slows it down a little bit as well. So it becomes a little bit of a challenge as Tim Miner now putting a lap on Ryan Sorry in that 17 machine again. So now Tim Miner with 3 laps left to go here in this larger open wheel cars. But again, Greg, I can't say this enough. The grip just seems to be going away. And I know that there's a lot of drivers down there in the next group that are saying the same thing.
Pitching in the paddock, third and probably final grid to call to the grid for race group 5, Big Bore Racers, American Sedan, GT1, 2, and 3. Actually, it's GT3U, GTX, STU, T1, T2, and T3. Please head to the grid. Your race starting in just a few moments. Race group number 5, American Sedan, GT1, 2, and 3U, GTX, STU, T1, T2, and T3. Please head to the grid. It looks like, Brian, only one racer has made it past that red carpet. So I'm a little concerned right now. Hopefully they'll post.
Well, keep in mind what happens if you get to the grid and they're at the 1 minute mark.
They all start from the back row.
You can't have everybody starting from the back. I think Joseph Folia would like that because that puts him up on the pole at that point,
That's right.
He's the only car sitting down there right now. So Tim Miner now coming up out of turn number 2, headed up into turn number 3. He's got 2 laps to go. Next time by, he will see that white flag giving him that 1 lap to go battle on the racetrack here to complete their 15 lap.
There's Tim. Now we got him.
Headed down into turn 5 now. Again, these drivers kind of getting everything they can. Rick Silver again, lap 13, set his fastest lap of this session. Right now, Russell Strait Jr. on lap 12 did it. We'll see whether or not he can duplicate that on lap 13. Jonathan Whiteside, Greg, just set his fastest lap. So maybe these guys really do need a 25-lap race.
Yeah.
Because they're starting to get faster as the afternoon or as this session goes on here.
All right, so as Tim Miner comes out of turn 10, cross the line, Tim Miner is your Saturday sprint race winner here at the 2025 US. Oh,
one more lap.
Oh yeah, that was the white flag.
Yep.
That didn't have like the little checkered things on it. Well, nope. Tim Miner, he's 1 lap away from being your Saturday race winner.
8 corners away now, Greg.
Can you tell how much I want this race to end, Brian? All right. Oh, we're getting loopy. There's Tim all by himself coming out of turn 3. And Brian, it looks like we had a driver go off on the outside of turn number 5. So all the dust and dirt in the air, trying to get the call, and he may have come all the way across the infield. See if we can get the number on it. Yeah, we'll see if we get that number out of our flagging team here in just a moment. As Tim Miner coming underneath the bridge, coming up on some slower traffic now on Russell Strait's FE2 machine.
Yeah, he's gonna get his last lap in. So.
Yeah, so Miner is gonna allow Russell Strait to take another lap, and now taking the checkered flag. Here is Tim Miner, and that time our camera couldn't show it. Tim Miner taking the win in Formula Continental. He'll try to repeat tomorrow when this group goes racing, and they should be out for their race tomorrow. It's group number 4, so it should be right after lunch, right around 12, hopefully around 12:20 tomorrow. Sam Harrington comes across the line. He's going to take the win in FE2, and now coming, we got coming out of turn 10 and heading across the line, that is Rick Silver in the number 26 Formula Continental Van Diemen. He's out of Durwood, Maryland. He'll finish second in class, third overall, with Chuck Moran coming out of the final corner now and onto the front straight. Chuck Moran will finish fourth overall and take the bronze in Formula Continental in his his Crossley 71F. Jonathan Weisheit will finish second in FE2, fifth overall. That will put Russell Straight third in class, and Ryan Sorry in his Radical will finish, I believe, 2 laps down and finish 7th overall. All right, so let's take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll bring you big bore action here from Summit Point Raceway. Look at that, Brian, as if I just snapped my fingers. They all show up on grid, and they're ready to go. We'll be back here with more action from Summit Point Raceway. It's a 2025 U.S. Majors Tour. We'll be right back.
The Spring Hill Suites Winchester is an all-suite property that features spacious suites, an indoor heated pool, complimentary hot buffet-style breakfast, a 24-hour fitness center, and complimentary Wi-Fi. Whether you're traveling in a group or flying solo, you'll find it easy to get comfortable in our spacious suites. We're conveniently located just off of Interstate 81 at exit 317 in a shopping center with many shops and dining options. Discount rooms are available. To book your suite today, call 540-431-3330.
Need a ride?
No. Okay. Taking you back to simpler times.
Hey, dog. Belmont Classic Cars, Belmont, Ohio.
Do this, you know, this motion catches their eye, and then they see the color.
Okay.
All right?
How do you recommend?
Welcome back to Summit Point Raceway. It's a 2025 U.S. Major Tour presented by the Washington, D.C. region of the SCCA. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Brian Donati. Spencer Gaynor's right there back with us. He just pressed the button to make his name show up on the screen. And we are getting ready for, as Brian was talking about it, the race of the luminaries, Brian. It's our big bore race, some of our ground pounders, our touring classes, American Sedan, Super Touring Under, as well as I think we've got one GT racer here as well. And we even have the Malvern Missile. We've got David Sanders in his Touring 2 Corvette here as well that we're going to have some in-car video from. Let's run down the starting order as the pace lap is beginning. Your pole sitter, who is just now heading onto the grid, driving the number 33 Touring 1 Ford Mustang out of Chester Springs, Pennsylvania, representing the Philadelphia region. It's Andrew Aquilante. Brian Goodman will start on the outside of the front row. He's out of Fairfield, Connecticut, in his Touring 1 BMW M3. And then we've got Jonathan Vasquez from Port Washington, New York, also in an M3. He's going to start on the inside of row number 2 in his number 127 machine. Kurt Resitano in the number 08 Touring 2 Ford Mustang out of Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, will start fourth, with Tim Rubright starting fifth today. He's in the number 77 T1 Ford Mustang Boss 302. He's from Kutztown, Pennsylvania. Then we've got David Sanders. He's going to start sixth today. He's in the number 73 Touring 2 Chevy Corvette. He's from Malvern, Pennsylvania, with Jeffrey Pascal starting seventh today. He's in the number 63 Touring 2 Chevy Corvette. He's out of Aston, Pennsylvania. Greg Eaton, three-time American Sedan National Champion, starts eighth today. He's in the number 21 Ford Mustang. He's from Woodbridge, Virginia, represents the D.C. region. Right beside, or actually on the next row, the inside of row number 5 is going to be Danny Richardson. Danny is your defending national champion in American Sedan. Yes, he is, and he is in the number 22 Chevrolet Camaro. He's out of Durwood, Maryland. Then we got Chip Herr starting right alongside Danny. Chip is your two-time and defending national champion in STU, driving the number 1 Audi A4. He's out of Lidditz, Pennsylvania. We then get Marshall Mast, another national champion. He's in the number 31 Touring 3 Ford Mustang. He's out of Denver, Pennsylvania. Then we got Dylan Licklider from Hamburg, Pennsylvania, representing the Blue Mountain region. He's in the number 89 American Sedan Ford Mustang. James Jost, another national champion, in the number 14 American Sedan Ford Mustang at our New Ringgold, Pennsylvania. He starts lucky 13. Darren Treacle is in the number 70 STU BMW 325. The Marshall, Virginia driver starts 14th, with Anthony Pacelli starting 15th in the number 114 Touring 3 Subaru Impreza, as the green flag is in the air, Brian, and we are on our way down to turn number 1. We sit on board with David Sanders as they get under the brakes here into turn 1. And a big surprise here, Brian, as I don't know if he didn't make it out with the rest of the field, but Chip Herr just now crossing the start and finish line to start his race, as the rest of our racers make the run down to turn number 3. Andrew Aquilante, your leader. Brian Goodman running in second.
Actually, Jonathan Vasquez, I believe, is going to be in second in that 127 machine. He actually got a really good start, got right up next to Andrew Aquilante coming out of turn 1 and turn 2. Now Aquilante is going to pull up a little bit ahead of him, opening up by about a car length and a half as they come through turn 5, coming up to turn 6. There you see it. Andrew getting a little bit sideways through 6. Again, these guys really trying to get still get heat in these tires, Greg. When you come out for that one lap, it is very hard to get as much heat as you can with these big, larger cars. Yeah. It takes about 2 laps,
Two
really.
laps,
so
baby.
This first lap is just going to be kind of the throwaway lap. Just get it through there. We talked about it earlier. It's very hot out there. This track is slick. There's very little grip.
All right, as we continue to have a couple of issues with some of our cameras here, but rest assured, Andrew Aquilante first across the line, and you said it there, is Vasquez running in second. And the big surprise, Brian, is that our outside pole sitter, Brian Goodman, in the 48 Touring 1 BMW, he falls back into 5th position. Matter of fact, we see him just ahead of David Sanders right now. The BMW driver's left, and I think that's Kurt Resitano in the Ford Mustang, right alongside him there as they come down into turn number 2 as the BMW gets back around Resitano's Touring 2 machine.
Yeah, tell you what, a little bit further back there in our American Sedan battle, that's where the battle's going to be right now, Greg, and that's the 21, Gregory Eaton, and the 22 of Daniel Richardson. Last time by 0.3 of a second, but Richardson just hanging on right there, not letting Eaton get too far away. And look for that battle to continue the entire race. Again, we talked about this before, especially right there. You see it coming out of turn 6, Daniel Richardson, right there technically on that back bumper of Gregory Eaton. That's that Ford Mustang and that Chevy Camaro battle. We've never heard of a Ford and a Camaro battle ever before,
never.
right? Never.
No, never.
That is a battle that's gone down, and those have had battles for national championship, throughout the years. So look for that battle to continue as well.
Yeah, indeed. And, I'll tell you, as we look at that fight, we've got Jeffrey Pascal in his T2 Chevy Corvette, that bright red Chevy Corvette sitting between Richardson and Jost. Jost only a couple car lengths back from there. If he can maybe use that Corvette as use him as a draft, might be able to get up to Richardson and Eaton. But Jost's got to be concerned with the Licklider car, the 89 Mustang, the black 89 directly behind him. And you mentioned it earlier, Brian. We've seen Darren Licklider and many members of the Licklider family here run regional races at Summit Point Raceway, and there is a lot more pace with Darren Licklider's Mustang now than I think we've seen in the past. And you mentioned that might be out of the Phoenix Performance Shop now.
Very well could be, because it's got Phoenix on the car, and all of those cars out of that Aqualante shop now have Phoenix getting written on. We'll double check that, but looking at the car and looking at it having the Phoenix on the bottom there, I believe it has been a prepared car by that. I'm sure somebody will jump in the chat and let us know that. But Dylan looked like really a lot of pace this weekend so far from what I've seen, again, in that another American Sedan battle with the rest of this group here. As Eaton, Richardson go by the start-finish line. You talked about Jost. He's got Pasquale in between there. Jost just kind of holding his own along with Licklider there. That's going to be the battle for third, because it's about a car length and a half now between Jost and Licklider as they head down into the one. The bright blue number 14 and then the black number 89 there. Again, 2 Ford Mustangs.
Yeah, indeed. As we are now working lap number, what is this, Brian? Lap number 3. As my timing and scoring had frozen up there for a moment. And so in Touring 1, it is Aqualante, Vasquez, Rubright, and Goodman. And Aqualante now, where Vasquez put up a valiant fight, Brian, for a lap and a half or so. Aqualante, who just turned in a 1:15.3. Of course, Aqualante, multi-time champion across multiple classes. And as he comes across the line, I just want to double check here and see where he is concerning track record. So track record coming into the day in Touring 1 held by Tony Ave at a 1:15.118. Aqualante turns in a 1:15.313. So he's getting close, about 0.2 off, but now has almost 10 seconds on Vasquez, who's lapping now over 2.5 seconds off of Aqualante's pace. Goodman, who started on the outside of the front row, now sits third in Touring 1. In STU, Darren Treacle, and and a lot of this has to do with again, Chip Herr starting at the very back of the pack and beyond the back of the pack, having to start about a quarter of a lap back from the rest of the field. Darren Treacle is your leader in STU. In Touring 2, it is Resitano and Sanders, and we ought to keep looking at that fight between Kurt Resitano, the silver-ish Ford Mustang, David Sanders, and the yellow Corvette, pardon me. Great little battle going on there with Pascal in third. In Touring 3, and as we go on board, there's David Sanders And it does look like Resitano is starting to move away a little bit. What I'd like to do is I'd like to pick up, if we can, and it's right back behind David Sanders, I think. This is the battle for the lead in Touring 3. They should be coming into our view here, not this pair here. This is that battle for the lead in American Sedan. But in Touring 3, we've got Pacelli in the Subaru Impreza, Marshall Mast. They're coming out of turn 10 right now and actually coming to the start line. There is the pair right there. Mast in the black with yellow striped hood on his Mustang, right behind the blue Subaru of Pacelli. The blue, and now we got Mast coming down the inside. Mast, former T3 national champion. Pacelli, well, just a Subaru driver. Actually, that's not true. Actually, I think this is actually the car that Chip Herr took to second place in STU back in 2023, or probably in 2022 at Virginia International Raceway.
During the rain.
Yeah,
Yep.
that horrible rain race. But Pacelli put up a good fight here, trying to come right underneath Mast, going through turn 5, and as they come hard under braking, Mast is going to have that move to the inside. They've got STU leader Darren Treacle directly behind them. But nice fight there as Pacelli, we'll see here. So Pacelli has had some pro racing experience now. As we look down going into turn 1, Brian, tell us about it.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's Jonathan Goodman making a move on Jonathan Vasquez for T1 T1 battle for second place there. So again, where Goodman didn't get the good start, dropped all the way back to I believe 5th at one point in time, as you had mentioned, Greg. He's now worked his way back up into 2nd overall, getting past Jonathan Vasquez.
All right, there you go. So I was saying that Pacelli, who I know is looking to perhaps make the jump to pro racing, just ran a WRL weekend at Mid-Ohio in a Ginetta, a very different car than the all-wheel drive Subaru that he is heading up right now. I think ended up with a podium finish as we continue to watch that battle for second in Touring 1 now, coming through the carousel with the two BMWs, Vasquez and Goodman, actually Goodman, pardon me, and then Vasquez.
Yeah.
As they come up the hill.
I was going to say, Greg, Anthony Pacelli having problems with that Subaru here when we were here a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Not able to complete, the entire race on Saturday, was able to get most of it done on Sunday.
For the Mid-Atlantic Road Racing Series. But we've seen him run quite a bit in the Majors Tour as well as Super Tours. And that Subaru has been very fickle, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
It has not been the most reliable thing. And so, we'll see if it holds up today. But I also know that he brought an American sedan, a third-gen American sedan Camaro that's sitting back in the paddock right now. If for some reason that Subaru can't make it to tomorrow's races. All right, Brian, real quick, let me make a call to the grid for our last race group of the day. Attention in the paddock. First call to the grid for race group 6, Spec Racer Ford Gen 3. Please head to the grid. Spec Racer Ford Gen 3 racers, please head to the grid. Your race is next. As we go back on board with David Sanders, wow, all the rotation he got on that car coming through turn 5. But you can also see, Brian, how when we talk about how hard it is to maybe make a pass around the outside of turn 5, that it is such a short run from turn 5 into turn 6. But this car, it rotates a lot better than I ever thought it would. I guess a lot of that is, having that torque thing at the, when you get on the throttle in the rear, you can kind of get the rear end to come around for you here. But David Sanders right now in the Touring 2 class running second. About three seconds up the road right now, directly ahead of him. It's a little hard to see through David's windshield there. Is Kurt Resitano, as Resitano is working through some lap traffic right now into the corner.
Well, not really working through lap traffic. He's trying to work with the 77 of Timothy Rubright.
Yeah.
And that is actually the 4th place in T1.
Oh, yeah.
So not a battle of lap cars. He's trying to get around him to do that. So, we look a little bit back, and it looks like, Greg, we got one car off down into turn 1. They're going to be just out of our
All right, and it sounds like that car has probably made it up to the wall just to the right of our camera. We'll try and get the number. And I'm getting word solely that it's a blue Mustang. We'll try and get the number on it, Brian.
Well, I can tell you it is James Jost.
Okay.
And that car is sitting up on the tire wall.
Okay, so that is the number 14 American Sedan Mustang. And, Brian, we are going to be going to a full course caution so we can get some emergency vehicles deployed over there. Yeah, unfortunately, just to the, well, fortunately or unfortunately, just to the right of our camera.
Fortunately, it looks like a little bit of both, so.
I mean, I know I was talking about James, talking some trash about James before the race. I didn't think he'd come and try to hit my camera, but as you can see there, we are under full course caution. Drivers acknowledging that as they come into turn one. We'll have some of our emergency services teams responding to that soon enough. There is the safety car driven by Graham Taylor. Thank you, Ralph Padgington, again. And as our leader is coming up the hill, Andrew Aquilante, we're going to deploy that safety car, I think, right after these two cars here.
Greg, sitting here looking down into turn one, it looked, and I don't want to speculate, but it does look like potentially maybe a brake issue.
Failure,
because that car went in, kind of went sideways, and that car went up into the tire barrier.
Yeah, so
sitting on top.
So our camera is zoomed in a little bit, Brian, and when you look at that camera right there, there is probably another 20 feet of gravel trap that is underneath that you can't see with our camera. That gravel trap extends probably around 75 feet, I would say, maybe a little bit more than that from the edge of the track surface back to the concrete wall.
Yeah.
So it's a long way with a lot of speed for a car to go. But Jost, I think, did a good job there. I think, and having been through an incident which had put me into the gravel trap there, Brian, you don't want to turn the wheel a lot because you could run the risk of having the car having the car catch in the gravel and flip over. So probably going straight into that. And we've got 3 rows of tires there to minimize speed, that you don't go straight to a concrete wall.
Absolutely.
And they're actually air gapped banded tires. So there's a lot there to mitigate speed.
Yeah.
We are getting word from race control, Brian, as we had 5 laps remaining in this race, that we are going to have an early checkered flag here. So as the safety car is bringing Andrew Aquilante and the rest of the field now, well, it looks like just Andrew Aquilante because he had such a lead. But as they're bringing the rest of the field,
the rest of the field's just now going past turn one. As you can see.
That they are going to get the checkered flag this time by, and so go and I think we can give you the finishing order here. I'll give you the top 10, and we'll break things down by class. Andrew Aquilante in the number 33 Touring 1 Ford Mustang will take the overall win, and of course winning class. Brian Goodman in his Touring 1 BMW M3 will finish second overall. Jonathan Vasquez will finish third in his Touring 1 BMW M3. Tim Rubright in the Touring 1 Ford Mustang will finish fourth overall. So top 4 drivers all in Touring 1. Kurt Resitano will take the win in Touring 2. He'll finish 5th overall, with David Sanders finishing 6th overall, second in Touring 2. Greg Eaton will finish 7th overall. He will take the win in American Sedan, with Danny Richardson finishing 8th overall, second in class. And there they are, second and third cars in the line there coming out of turn 10. Jeffrey Pascal will finish 9th overall and take third in Touring 2. Dylan Licklider will finish third in American Sedan, 10th overall. If we go and break things down by class here, again in T1, Aquilante, Goodman, Vasquez, Rubright. We've covered all of them. In Touring 2, Resitano, Sanders, Pascala, Joe Latanzi will finish 4th in Touring 2. In Touring 3, finishing 11th overall and taking the win in his Ford Mustang, Marshall Mast. Anthony Pacelli will finish 2nd in Touring 3, with Clark Ostrom finishing in 3rd. In STU, Darren Treacle will take the win. over Chip Herr. And then finally in GT1, our sole racer in his number 50 Chevy Corvette out of Hackettstown, New Jersey, Joseph Folia, in a beautiful, beautiful C3 Corvette, early 70s Chevy Corvette. Again, our sole racer in GT1. All right, so we are going to take a quick break and take another commercial break as our emergency services teams respond to the incident and get things cleaned up in T1. Probably going to need a little bit of tire wall, air gap tire wall repair out there as well. I'm going to set up on screen a tentative return time of 4:15, about 15 minutes from now. As soon as we have updates, we'll put it in the chat. We'll put it on the screen as well. But in the meantime, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more racing action from Summit Point Raceway in just a few moments.
At OG Racing, when you are shopping on our website, when we say in stock, this is what we mean by in stock. Seats and seat bases, brakes, harnesses and restraints, shoes, suits and steering, helmets, gloves and undergarments, fire suppression, and so much more. Shipping directly to you from our conveniently located Sterling, Virginia warehouse with thousands of in-stock items.
RP Performance is the only premier race shop in the region that specializes in both street and track Mazdas and is located right in the heart of racing at Summit Point's Gasoline Alley. RP has been involved in countless race wins and series championships across many classes with drivers of all ages. Not just a full-service shop, RP has been helping drivers with their individual racing and other track event needs for over 30 years, providing trackside support, arrive and drive packages, as well as race car transport services. And they're known for its help all attitude. RP Performance is your go-to for getting cars back on track for that positive experience at Summit Point when you're ready to pack it in. For more information about RP Performance, come talk to them here in the paddock. Call them at 304-728-6749 or email them at Brett, that's B-R-E-T, at rpperformanceracing.com.
If you like what you see today, become part of the action by joining Sports Car Club of America. Whether you want to drive, flag, or just have fun with cars, SCCA membership opens the door to all kinds of motorsports to feed your obsession, along with 65,000 like-minded members ready to be friends. Ask someone trackside how to get involved or visit SCCA.com for more information.
Since 1976, Radial Tire Company has been providing the Washington, D.C. area with quality tires, expert knowledge, and the finest service. They have earned a reputation as a premier specialist in hard-to-find performance tire and wheel applications and stock tires from all the top manufacturers for whatever you drive. From performance and race cars to SUVs and trucks to your daily drivers, Radial's mission is to assist you in getting the most out of your tires and car. To get a competitive quote on your next set of tires, now with free shipping, or to schedule online, visit RadialTireCompany.com or call them in Silver Spring at area code 301-585-2740. That's 301-585-2740.
Everybody's head is different, and it's a pain to adjust them, and people try to force it, and they Under double yellow?
Oh, how to use a fire extinguisher?
Okay, because there's different types. Depends where you go.
Okay.
Need oxygen. And the third thing is you need a certain temperature to ignite the fire onto
Yeah.
the. It could start again.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you had water, all right, some bottles are. Well, or wherever, like this,
Yeah.
and it will cloud in there and go out. Then when the color of the smoke changes, then you carefully I know, but what do you do until the truck gets there?
Yeah.
He's just sitting there. A really big guy. Like, holy mackerel. Coming out of the engine compartment.
Yeah.
So we had the oil flag up and we had the stationary yellow up.
Yeah.
And he's not getting out of the car.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, garages there. I said,
Yeah.
what were you circulating lap after lap after lap through that incident? Why were you doing that? You should have gone to the pits and say, tell me. In the gravel industry today. Maybe 2 wheels, but not 4.
No, yeah.
It's a big difference. Why is he doing that? Must be something. That's what you want to get them to do.
Yeah.
If you're just timid little flag, oh, it's a nothing. Group from the country Azerbaijan. Used to be in the Soviet Union.
Okay.
Okay, but it's known as Baku.
Yeah.
Okay, they run a Grand Prix there for a few years. Everything based on that. They want you to talk, but the decisions are made by watching the TV. I mean, and then they say, oh, the flaggers are so important. Parking lot course. It was cool to have them, but they had some support rates. flag is an advisory. They don't have to actually slow down or move out of the way and cause track position. I think it's terrible. And there was an accident. And the driver got out and he was limping.
Yeah.
He was injured. you preface medical emergency so they know it's not on the track.
I think Adam said that we need to say flagger down.
Usually you'll have to have should have a strong divisional license. You know.
Welcome back, everybody, to Summit Point Raceway, the 2025 U.S. Majors Tour presented by the Washington, D.C. region of the SCCA. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Brian Donati. Got Spencer Gaynor here as well. And we've gotten our tire wall repairs done. We've got our track repairs done. Our word that we've received is that the driver is in good shape. And we can see at least one of my cameras, or our cameras, is still in good shape. As we've got Joel Pence up at the top of the grid, our splitter for today's final race of the day. There she is waving to us. And we've got drivers heading out from Spec Racer Ford now for their pace lap. Starting on the pole today, driving the number 30 machine with a qualifying time of 1:19.496 out of Washington, D.C. it's Mac Harrison. Starting on the outside of the front row, Sam Schechter out of Boyds, Maryland, also a DC region member, and he's in the number 55, the light blue number 55 machine. Morgan Burkhardt, pole sitter at the 2023 National Championship Runoffs. He's out of Charlestown, West Virginia, practically right outside our gates. He is qualified third, with Theo Pepe starting fourth. He's out of Clifton, New Jersey, representing the northern New Jersey region. He's in the number 27 machine. Jeffrey Lehner will start on the inside of row number 3 in the number 117 machine. He's out of Gloversville, New York, representing the Mahoning Valley region. Then we got Craig Chase starting 6th. Craig is out of Darien, Connecticut, representing the New England region. He's in the number 42 car. Keith Frazier's in the number 7 machine. He starts 7th, and he's out of Annapolis, Maryland. Starting 8th today in the 01 car from Silver Spring, Maryland, it's Chris Current. Jeffrey Valentino will start 9th today. Jeffrey is starting in the number 68 machine, and he represents the New York region of the SCCA. Ismail Elahi will start 10th. He's out of Mountain Lake, New Jersey. He's representing the northern New Jersey region in the number 38 car. Then we've got John Ryan. He's in the 87 machine. He's from Delmont, Pennsylvania, represents the Steel Cities region. He starts 11th. Starting 12th from Littlestown, Pennsylvania, representing the northern New Jersey region, J. Mark Wendling in the number 3 car. Starting 13th in the number 57 machine from New York, representing the South Jersey region, it's Don Privet. Thomas Riley will start 14th. Thomas is driving the number 11 machine. He represents the New England region. It's from New Fairfield, Connecticut. David Sanders out of the Corvette into the Spec Racer Ford Gen 3. He starts 15th today, driving the number 15 Willing and Able Racing entry. Nikki Ruman Skinner will start 16th. She's in the number 23 Spec Racer Ford Gen 3, represents the Washington, D.C. region, with Ken Riley starting 17th in the number 47 machine. Ken is from New Canaan, Connecticut, represents the New England region. Richard Herman will start 18th. He's in the number 0 car. He's from Wayne, Pennsylvania. Then we got Tom Kirchman in the number 62 Spec Racer Ford Gen 3. He's from Framingham, Massachusetts, representing the New England region, and he starts 19th. Starting 20th, driving the number 52 machine from Freedom, Pennsylvania, representing the Steel Cities region, it's AJ Ferragonio. And then we got Charlie Abel from Willing and Able Racing. Got his car back together. The number 50 machine had some issues in qualifying. The Middletown, Maryland driver will round out the field starting 21st. As the pace car is on the pit lane and coming out of turn number 10, our pole sitter, Mac Harrison, in the gray number 30, Sam Schechter in the light blue number 55 to his left. And we have a green flag, and we are underway here from Summit Point. We are having some issues with our cameras. We'll hopefully have them back here in just a few moments as our racers make the run down towards turn number 1. Mac Harrison, he's going to hold off the field as they come through. Morgan Burkhardt slotting in ahead of Sam Schechter and Theo Pepe's in the 55 machine. Sam Schechter moving up to 4th. Craig Chase rolling into 6th. Keith Frazier, then Jeffrey Valentino as the field makes their way down into turn number 8. Turn 8, I'm sorry, not turn 8. Woo. Make that turn 3. And somebody who might have thought it was turn 8 went through the gravel trap. That was Frazier.
Keith Frazier went really, really wide there. Like, whoops, forgot there's a turn there.
That's right. Keith turn 8's that away. Turn 3 was this away. And he goes and manages to recover. We'll see how many positions he drops. But Mac Harrison jumping out to an early lead. And Brian, and we've seen this at regionals, at majors, at super tours, where Mac Harrison and Sam Schechter, they just can't get away from one another.
Yeah.
They qualified 1-2, and that's where they stand right now to start off the U.S. Majors Tour this year down at Miami Homestead. They crashed into one another on the last lap of a race. So we'll see how things play out here. We'll see if Morgan Burkhardt can push the next car in line. There, the 55 machine up a little bit closer, up to our leader, Mac Harrison. And I think we're having some transponder. Maybe he's pushing hard because I think the 55 car's transponder just quit out on us.
Yeah, maybe because he didn't. I know he went by the start-finish line because right now he's sitting in second,
right
behind Mac Harrison right there. I tell you what, the car that got the really good jump there was Jeffrey Lerner in that 117 machine.
Yeah.
Lerner, he ended up moving ahead of Theo Pepe's, and it looks like our timing and storing is now starting to catch up. There they
Here we go.
Here he comes. Here comes Sam.
I think they put him in by hand, and I think that transponder was actually an issue a couple weeks ago at VIR too, Brian.
Yeah.
So we'll keep track of him here. But yeah, indeed, it's here as Lehner with a great early start in that number 117 machine, getting around Pepe's there, and Keith Frazier, and then Frazier he had that great start in the number 7 machine. It looks like he's fallen back to his rightful place as 7th. I was 7th, Brian.
Well, that's the reason why he has the 7.
Exactly.
The number 7.
That we can always pick out where he's going to be. As our top 3 racers come out of turn number 10 here and onto the front straight, and as they cross the line, Morgan Burkhardt trying to pick who he wants to go into turn 1 with. Brian, he moved from the left to the right, went from behind Schechter to behind Harrison, back to behind Schechter, and as they went into turn 1, he got behind our leader, Mac Harrison, and as they come into turn number 3 now, it's Burkhardt and Schechter side by side. Burkhardt to the outside, and he makes the pass on the outside of turn 3 to take over second place.
Tell you what, early on in this race, smart move by Sam Schechter in that 55 machine to back out of it a little bit, let Morgan go through, get back in line. That's the only way they're going to catch Mac Harrison. Later on in the race, I wouldn't be so sure that if Sam Schechter doesn't stay on the throttle right there and take it too wide up the entire length of turn 3 up on top of the hill.
Yeah, and so as we look at Burkhardt here, Burkhardt had his start in Spec Racer Ford back in 2023, and his very first time in a Spec Racer Ford was here at the U.S. Majors Tour, where he took a win, put his car on pole, took the win in the very first race. For the feature race on Sunday, he had a clutch issue and retired after 1 lap, but he turned that into a pole at the National Championship Runoffs. He had some mechanical issues during the race and unfortunately didn't finish. But, again, very, very quick racer. Burkhardt has gone on to convert his racing in SCCA amateur racing. Last year, he raced a TCR car for the Victor Gonzalez Racing Team in Michelin Pilot Challenge, and this year he is in the Sabach Simpson Porsche Cayman GT4 RS Club Sport, also in Michelin Pilot in IMSA. So he's turned to what has been a very short amateur career, Brian, into a great pro career where he actually led at Daytona for a short period of time this year in the opening round of the Michelin Pilot Challenge.
Yeah, it did led pretty much the first 35, 40 minutes of that race. Had a little bit of a falter on pit road, during that race that put them back, set the team back. Actually, they were able to overcome and end up finishing 10th.
Yeah.
In that very first race of the season. Tell you what, if we can, Spencer, and we'll try to get the cameras working, but last time by, really good battle here. And this is 8th, 9th, and 10th, and that is between Chris Current in the 01, Jeffrey Valentino in the 68, John Ryan in the 87. Current was able to get by Valentino last time they came by the start-finish line. Now Valentino's going to move back in front of the 01 of Chris Current.
Yeah, and we're watching that right now. Is we've got the black car coming down right underneath Chris Current, coming right back against the white 87 there of
That's John Ryan.
John Ryan, pardon me, coming back on John Ryan with Jeffrey Valentino just a little bit further ahead, but a great battle here. Matter of fact, coming out of 2, going into turn number 3 now. We've got almost, I think, 5 cars all together. And again, we're having some, at the end of the day here, having some camera issues. We'll try and get those resolved as quickly as we can. They held up apparently better than a Mustang. So we'll watch here as they go into turn 5. And yeah, here's that fight, Brian. Look at this.
Yeah.
And that is...
And that I believe that may be a little bit further back too,
yeah.
Right? I mean that's right there.
I think that's Sanders in the 51.
Yeah.
Mark Wendling, Tom Riley, and Charlie Abel along with Nicky
Nicky
Rubin
Rubin.
Skinner in that group as
Yep.
well.
Yep, and Kenneth Riley in that 47.
Yeah.
A little bit further back. Again, when we first came on air, Kenneth Riley was in turn 5 up against the tire wall.
Right.
And drivers left there. So good to see that they got that car fixed back up and got it out there. So, again, our front 3 cars now, you look at Morgan Burkhardt, he's up in the front. Mac Harrison second, Sam Schechter third. They're within 0.3 of a second. You got to go back about 5 seconds to the 117, Jeffrey Lerner, and then you got Theo Pepes in the 27.
All right, as we've got now 5 laps complete, it is Morgan Burkhardt, your new leader, and going down, taking a wild ride through the grass there. Went wide, coming down the very fast chute. That was that Ismail Alahi, or that might have been a little bit further up the field.
That's 3.8.
Yeah, the 3.8.
You're right.
Yeah,
Yep.
Alahi,
Yep.
who dropped the wheel, and that turned out well for him. Certainly, as he straightened up the wheel and just went down through the grass. But we started the day off, Brian, as you mentioned, showing what happens when it doesn't go so well.
That's why I said for a minute we came on air, Kenneth Riley, he was up against the tire wall there, and drivers left to turn 5. So not a spot that you want to be. And I guess Alahi thought, well, maybe when you guys get ready to go off the air, I can do the same thing.
That's exactly right. So we'll see here is Alahi, who was 12th starting this lap, probably going to lose a couple positions as we had Richard Herman directly behind in the number 0 machine. I think Herman was able to get by him there. Great little fight we just saw coming into turn 2. And I think that was Alahi and Herman, actually. As Herman now, as Alahi gets the position back from Richard Herman.
Getting a call from one of the green, but it's not 3-0. 3-0 is the gray of Mac Harris, and
they're saying that one of the cars out there, the bodywork is flopping around.
Oh well, Mac is kind of gray and kind of greenish. Maybe that's just the way the sun is hitting it. It is a little floppy as they go down across the start-finish line. Probably a little bit more loose than I think that they would like to see it, but it definitely is Mac Harrison's car, but that is really gray. But it is, and now Mac's going to try to push down into turn 1 there and try to make that pass on Burkhardt. And I tell you what, they're going to go side by side, Greg, going down out of turn 2. You're going to see this right here, getting ready to come down the chute now. They should be right there coming out of turn 3. Definitely going to be going down the chute right there. It is. So Morgan able to hold off, but same thing as Schechter and Burkhardt was last time by when they were side by side going through 3. Harrison having to get out of that throttle early on. We'll see what happens.
And as Burkhardt goes and is then able to open up the corner and run, even they take the rim shot around the outside, able to carry the speed through there and hold the number 30 machine off. So good battle going on there for the lead. And we'll watch this now. These racers, they're quite a bit off of their qualifying pace, as you would expect at this point, as they are continuing the fight. There you can see the last time by Burkhardt, Harrison, and Schechter in the mid to high 1:20 range. They all 3 qualified in the mid-19s.
Mm-hmm. Again, another group that really has a lot of battles. We saw this earlier on in our Spec Miata class out here, Greg. These cars, again, similar in type, pretty much all of the same. It's about a matter of the driver and the driver experience here. So, again, your top 3 got a good battle. 4th and 5th between Lehner and Pepe still hanging in there. And what that's doing with those guys, that's allowing Craig Chase in that 42. So shout out to Craig staying in there, trying to work his way into that top 5. About 2.5 car lengths back right now of the Lehner and the Pepe's machine.
All right, as we watch them come down the hill, that is Lehner and Pepe's the 117 and the 27, the battle for fourth. And very, very close, very tight there as those two drivers have fallen off the top three. So even as our top three are pretty much going at it tooth and nail through at least a couple corners every lap, Lehner and Pepe's have not been able to keep that pace up. They're about 7.5 seconds back from our leaders. As speaking of our leaders, we have a new one, and it is Mac Harrison. Schechter second, Burkhardt third, and I think that changed down the bottom portion of the course there as we now have 6 laps remaining in this 15-lap race.
Yeah, those three kind of battling, the entire race. And, again, a lot of experience right there between those three. Those three drivers as they head up out of turn 3 now and head up through there. Look, a little bit of tire running that Miata line again, trying to get the most out of it. Again, this track is, again, still at the hottest point of the day right now. There's got to be just zero grip.
Yeah, and so it looked like the Mac Harrison either put just 2 wheels off or possibly all 4. The call from our corner workers was that he put all 4. As Burkhardt's going to try to make a move underneath Sam Schechter coming through turn 6B, and he gets that pass done. And Brian, that's what I would call an improved touring pass going through 6B. Very common there, but the spec racer Fords that are so evenly matched usually, I'm sure that Schechter probably never been passed there, probably didn't expect for Burkhardt to come underneath them there. So move Burkhardt up to second. But while that was happening, that did allow Mac Harrison to open up maybe an extra half car length. We'll see if second and third place can close that down under the draft going down into turn number 1. And here as they come through, the answer is no, not really.
Yeah, I was going to say that gap that he built, that really isn't all that much. And again, those two, Burkhardt and Schechter, they'll draft right back up there as Morgan trying to get the most as he can out of turn 3.
Burkhardt carries,
side tires.
And I think Burkhardt carries a little bit more speed than either Schechter or Harrison through turn 3. Let's see what happens when they come down the hill. So they have been able to get back up to the 30 machine. Let's see if Burkhardt tries that same move on Mac Harrison coming through the carousel. Not quite close enough to make that attempt right there this time by. And we're going to try and catch up. There's another battle that I was watching here, Brian, and I think we checked in on at least one of them earlier. And this is Don Privet in the 57, who I think is in the Gulf liveried machine with Chris Current and the Black 01. We'll catch up with them momentarily, but the race that we're watching right now, I think that's the 50 of Charlie Abel, along with Mark Wendling, Tom Riley, Nicky Ruman Skinner as well, as they're coming through. That right now is the battle for 14th in the field. And I mean, and again, it's great to see, Brian, this close competition, whether it be at the front of the field or the mid-pack here, as they've got this great little fight going on.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on that, Abel leading that group there. That's 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th, and they've been kind of going back and forth. Abel just getting past Mark J. Wendling, a lap or two ago, and trying to hold him off there. And then you've got a little bit further back to Thomas Riley in the 11, and then the 23 of Nicky Ruman Skinner, who, again, just really getting back in the seat, hasn't been there, in that seat in the last 5 years, part of the the Ruman Racing kind of, I say royalty, her sister.
Yes, Amy Ruman.
Big Trans Am, 2-time Trans Am champion. Her father ran spec racers back in the day. Her mom also ran a lot of autocross and some other racing. So, again, the history that goes back. And I'm going to try to reach out to her today on the way out of here. Maybe we can get her up here tomorrow, and maybe in our group too, just to kind of talk about that, because it's an interesting story, because it really goes way back. So I know, the team down there, if they can hear us, I'm going to reach out to her, probably as soon as this is over and see if we can't get her up here in the morning.
All right, so Morgan Burkhardt, your new leader, Mac Harrison second, Sam Schechter in third. And that battle I was talking about before between Privet and Current, Privet, who's just about ready to come across the start-finish line now. He's really starting to open things up on Chris Current, and that is primarily because Current now is very, very preoccupied with Ismail Elahi in that light blue number 38 machine. Elahi on a recovery. Obviously, after that earlier off over at turn 5, he started 10th. He's currently sitting 12th right now, and there they are, kind of, sort of, in fits and starts. And again, we apologize here with the issues we're having with the cameras right now at the end of the day, but we'll do our best to have some better.
Greg, we've got a little bit of action coming out of turn 3. Nicky Ruman Skinner going through the gravel trap right now. That's the 11 right there. That is Thomas Riley, and that really all started between Charlie Abel and Mark J. Wendling.
And so
going through there, fighting for both.
So
of
did
the,
Skinner go and continue, but she had to go.
She had to go wide.
Very deep in that gravel trap to avoid the number 11 machine that spun around and rolled back across the track there. So the number 11 machine is actually still sitting there in the grass, I think, trying to get that machine restarted. And he's actually stuck in the grass right now, Brian, as he's rocking the car back and forth, and he gets it back underway. So the 11 machine now rejoins the action after having lost a number of positions here, as Riley was, I think, sitting 14th at the time.
And that all started way back in the middle of turn 1 and 2. Those four kind of all got close together. Somebody ended up dropping 2 wheels off. Looks like it may have been Thomas Riley that dropped 2 wheels off back there into 1. That collected everybody, gathered them up, and as they went into turn 3, it was a product of everybody trying to look for for the same real estate there on the racetrack. With 1 lap to go, Morgan Burkhardt holding on to that lead over the 30 of Mac Harrison, Sam Schechter. Those 3 are definitely going to come down to the end, Greg. But I tell you what, Schechter and Harrison are starting to look like they're going to work together to try to figure out how to get by Morgan Burkhardt as they come down out of turn 2, start to head up the chute right here. Trust me when I say this, that Morgan Burkhardt and Mac Harrison, they are going to be side by side.
All right, well, Burkhardt manages to hold the 2 off as they come out of turn 3, and as they come down through the high-speed chute, you can see there a couple little checks on the brakes, primarily to make sure that they have brakes going into turn 5, but Burkhardt's going to lead them through here as we are currently working lap number 15. And as they come through, look at that, Brian, we had Mac Harrison take the look to the inside of Morgan Burkhardt as Burkhardt opened up that corner to try to hold off the rest of the field. And I think we've got him coming out of turn 8, up the hill underneath the Toyota Bridge for the very last time. And as they come out of turn 10 and onto the front straight, Morgan Burkhardt leads Sam Schechter. He's doing the weave. He moves all the way over to driver's left. Schechter pulls out to try to come up the driver's left of Burkhardt, and Burkhardt is going to take the win here. Margin of victory, 9/100ths of a second over Mac Harrison. Sam Schechter will finish in 3rd. Jeffrey Lehner, he comes across the line. He's going to finish 4th with Theo Pepes. Then Keith Frazier. And look at this. Craig Chase beats Keith Frazier to the line. So move Craig Chase up in the 6th. Keith Frazier, Brian, he almost finished 6th. But no, the number 7 car, he finishes 7th. He was 7th. Jeffrey Valentino will finish 8th. John Ryan 9th. Don Privet will round out the top 10. Ismail Elahi will finish 11th. Richard Herman 12th. Chris Current drops down to 13th. J. Mark Wendling 14th. And David Sanders will finish 15th. What a finish at the end there, Brian. You know, Burkhardt, he tried to break the draft, but you're only allowed to make 1 move.
Yep.
And he moved over, and then, Harrison, he could move to the left to try to use the slingshot by, could not make it work. And margin of victory, 9/100ths of a second. All right, so that is going to wrap up action for today. Spencer, can we throw up the schedule so you can see tomorrow? We are going to be on air tomorrow morning. Stream starts at 8:40 a.m. tomorrow, and it is feature race day here at Summit Point Raceway. We're going to have 3 races in the morning, 3 races in the afternoon, and all for U.S. Majors Tour glory here at Summit Point Raceway. Brian, any final thoughts for the day?
No, I tell you what, I'm really looking forward to the longer races again. I think you're going to see some of these drivers try to play a little bit of strategy again. 25 laps, still considered a sprint race. So, again, it's going to be an all-out sprint, but you've got to make sure that you take care of your equipment. You're going that extra miles through there. We saw some really good racing this afternoon.
Yeah, indeed.
I really think we're going to see even better racing tomorrow. It'll be cooler for our earlier groups.
That is true, and our cameramen are going to be ruining that it's going to be pretty warm in
We're
the afternoon.
putting them to bed early tonight.
That's right, with ice packs.
Yeah, right.
All right, so for Brian Donati, for Spencer Gaynor, I'm Greg Ginsburg, and we want to thank you all for joining us here for day 1 of the U.S. Majors Tour here from Summit Point Raceway. And as we said, we'll be back tomorrow morning bright and early, 8:40 a.m. Eastern Time. Make sure to join us. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
At OG Racing, when you are shopping on our website, when we say in stock, this is what we mean by in stock. Seats and seat bases, brakes, harnesses and restraints, shoes, suits, and steering, helmets, gloves, and undergarments, fire suppression, and so much more. Shipping directly to you from our conveniently located Sterling, Virginia warehouse with thousands of in-stock items.
RP Performance is the only premier race shop in the region that specializes in both street and track Mazdas and is located right in the heart of racing at Summit Point's Gasoline Alley. RP has been involved in countless race wins and series championships across many classes with drivers of all ages. Not just a full-service shop, RP has been helping drivers with their individual racing and other track event needs for over 30 years, providing trackside support, arrive and drive packages, as well as race car transport services. And they're known for its help all attitude. RP Performance is your go-to for getting cars back on track for that positive experience at Summit Point when you're ready to pack it in. For more information about RP Performance, come talk to them here in the paddock. Call them at 304-728-6749 or email them at Brett, that's B-R-E-T, at rpperformanceracing.com.
If you like what you see today, become part of the action by joining Sports Car Club of America. Whether you want to drive, flag, or just have fun with cars, SCCA membership opens the door to all kinds of motorsports to feed your obsession, along with 65,000 like-minded members ready to be friends. Ask someone trackside how to get involved or visit SCCA.com for more information.
Since 1976, Radial Tire Company has been providing the Washington, D.C. area with quality tires, expert knowledge, and the finest service. They have earned a reputation as a premier specialist in hard-to-find performance tire and wheel applications and stock tires from all the top manufacturers for whatever you drive. From performance and race cars to SUVs and trucks to your daily drivers, Radial's mission is to assist you in getting the most out of your tires and car. To get a competitive quote on your next set of tires, now with free shipping, or to schedule online, visit RadialTireCompany.com or call them in Silver Spring at area code 301-585-2740. That's 301-585-2740.
The Spring Hill Suites Winchester is an all-suite property that features spacious suites, an indoor heated pool, complimentary hot buffet-style breakfast, a 24-hour fitness center, and complimentary Wi-Fi. Whether you're traveling in a group or flying solo, you'll find it easy to get comfortable in our spacious suites. We're conveniently located just off of Interstate 81 at exit 317 in a shopping center with many shops and dining options. Discount rooms are available. To book your suite today, call 540-431-3330.
Need a ride?
No. Okay. Taking you back to simpler times.
Hey, dog. Belmont Classic Cars, Belmont, Ohio.